If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 71, Dark Lord's Trauma. A few days passed by since the whole capital zombie attack occurred. And needless to say that because of his contribution to protecting the citizens of the capital, the Dark Lord was promoted once again, though every magic knight who participated in that event got a promotion too. That's not important. The main thing was that Sek was now a second-class senior magic knight. He also got quite popular amongst the people of the capital as being an odd Black Bull member who saved the citizens during the attack when most of the other magic knights were not even close by. But despite all of these achievements, the Dark Lord didn't get conceited and just led his daily life. Currently in the Black Bull's HQ, or more correctly inside Sek's room, Sek, Vanessa, and Secret were pondering over a serious matter. "So what do you think I should do, Vanessa-san?" asked Sek as he looked at the pink-haired woman. Vanessa, who was reading a letter without even looking up, said, "No matter how you look at it, it's an invitation to a date." Just as those words escaped Vanessa's mouth, Secret, who was sitting on Sek's shoulder, started pecking his head with all her strength. "Reject it! Reject it! Reject it!" What other answer could there possibly be were the thoughts that his familiar anti-bird had. "Ow ow ow ow! Cut it out, Secret, ow!" Sek, who defended his head from the barrage of beaks, caught the bird in his hand and held her still. Vanessa acted as if nothing happened and put the letter back in the bed and said, "Well, this Anna person is just asking you out. I think that you should do what you want." Sek looked at the letter that was placed on his bed and started having many thoughts with a very, very serious look on his face. Seeing him have such a serious look on his face, Vanessa's eyes widened a bit as she thought, what the hell is so complicated about this that it is making him have such seriousness? "Hey Sek, it's just a date, you don't have to worry this mew." That's what she said. Just as Vanessa was about to finish her sentence, Sek yelled out loudly as he immediately stood up. Both Secret and Vanessa were shocked by his sudden outburst as they looked at the blonde boy with surprised looks on their faces. "It's the same shit that bitch Stella told me and then shoved a gun down my throat when I tried to reject her," thought Sek as the memories of the bitch from his previous world resurfaced. Sek shook his head so as to clear his thoughts and said, "No, that's not the problem. Anna is nothing like her, but what if she's just trying to act like that in front of public just like that bitch?" "Calm down, Sek, calm down. And who the hell is this bitch that you are mentioning?" said Vanessa as she made Sek sit back on his bed. Secret, seeing her partner like that, got worried and hopped onto his shoulder and started patting his back. Sek took some deep breaths and soon calmed down and said, "No one, just a bad memory that is best kept buried. Anyways, on to the current agenda." Sek held the letter in his hands as he ignored the pink-haired woman and the anti-bird and said, "I don't think it will be a problem, actually scratch that. I am going on this date. I need to face this someday anyway. After all, the Dark Lord's charisma will invite such situations from time to time." Sek, who had a resolute look on his face, immediately got a wing slap from Secret, who once again started pecking his head with all her might. "Ow ow 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 ow!" cried Sek as he fell from the bed. Vanessa, who looked at the scene in front of her, chuckled and said, "Phew phew, well, it's interesting to see that someone like Sek-kun, the Dark Lord, will have such trouble with going on a date with a girl." That comment immediately reached Sek's ears as he shot up from the floor and said, "Oh please, it's just such a trivial matter that it never crossed the Dark Lord's great mind, that's all." Well, it was partially true, since Sek, who since his childhood was so fascinated by magic which was not present in his previous life, never had a single thought about dating someone. He just practiced his magic to get stronger to reach his goal of becoming the Dark Lord and just enjoyed his life without thinking much about it. Plus the shitty romantic life in his previous world left a slight trauma on him. Plus she protected me while I was unconscious, so I want to repay her as well," said Sek. He decided to go on the date. "Well then, good for you then. By the way, why did you call me for such a matter?" asked Vanessa. "Well, I just wanted to make sure that I was comprehending the letter correctly. So I sought after someone who had some experience with these types of things. And you seem to be the best option in the squad," said Sek. What about Finral? He should have been a better candidate for this. Can you tell me the number of times he got himself to date a girl? Said Sek as a look of realization flashed on Vanessa's face as the whole room turned silent. Meanwhile at some other part of the Black Bull's HQ, Finral, who was reading a not-so-children-friendly magazine, felt as if an arrow pierced his heart. Chapter 72, Mixer. The next day at the Black Bull's HQ, a man could be seen sitting on top of the building with a thoughtful expression on his face. The said man was Final, the Ride the space magician of the Black Bulls. And currently, he was in a great dilemma about who to invite for a mixer that he arranged. Asta's a delight, so I am definitely taking him, thought Finral as he nodded several times. Now the main question is, who to take in as the third member. Someone who won't spoil the mixer and also not make the ladies too much attracted to himself, thought Finral. Deciding to do the thinking as he looks over all the members, Finral opened a portal and jumped through it. After looking at most of the members of his squad, Finral decided to invite Luck as the third member since the other members were somehow not fitting his criteria. Yosh, now let's just get Asta and be set on our way, declared Finral. Yet, I will beat the crap out of everyone at the mixer. Ha ha ha, said Luck in response, making Finral asking to himself whether bringing Luck was a fine idea or not. But soon he stopped thinking about that and went to look for Asta, as he was nowhere inside the HQ, which meant that he must most probably be in the training area. And just as he thought, Asta was indeed there, though he was not alone, as Sek and Ins were there as well, making Finral groan. Out of all the members whom Finral considered to be the third member, Sek was not one of them, because currently, Sek's popularity amongst the people of the kingdom was very high, and taking him along might lower the chances of him hitting up with a girl. Well, I can just hope that he would not be interested in the mixer, and if not, I can just say that the three people are already selected, thought Finral as he decided to call Asta. But the moment he decided to call Asta, he saw Asta and Sek, who were sparring with their respective swords, throw their swords away and glare at the skeleton, who was looking back in their direction. Oi, why did you take over my body again? Yelled Asta as Ins immediately fired a magic bullet from his finger at the monoless boy and possessed his body once again. But didn't you two say whether I would like to join the sparring session or not? Asked the possessed Asta. We meant on your own, not by possessing him. I was just curious whether you have some kind of attack magic or not, said Sek. Smacking his bony fist on his bony pal, Ins gestured that he understood and gave a thumbs up. He then gave the control back to Asta and took some distance from the two, who took their swords back and just waited for the skeleton to use his magic. Ins, you need not worry, just take it at your own pace. Yeah, you bony bastard, bring it on. But just as the two teens who were holding swords said that, the atmosphere around them started to change and a huge amount of mana started gathering around Ins, and his grimoire started floating beside him. Sek, who felt the amount of mana that started gathering around Ins, widened his eyes in shock and got serious. Even Asta, who could not feel mana, could somehow tell that the situation was serious and took his stance as well. Ins, who noticed the two swordsmen prepared to take his attack, started gathering even more mana, but soon realized something and started looking around, when suddenly his eyes fell on Finral and Luck. Not wasting any time, Ins pointed his finger at Finral and fired a magic bullet at him. And not even a moment later he was now in possession of his body. That shorty doesn't have any mana, but being in a body with a little amount of mana is not that great of a feeling as well. Saying his part, the possessed opened a portal and appeared beside Ins's real body and said, now as you asked, Sek-kun, twerp, here comes my attack magic. Why is Finral senpai fighting as well? And why at his side? Asked Asta with a shocked look on his face. Idiot! That's not Finral-san. Ins has taken over his body so that he can speak. Oh. Got it. Ins, who let the two kids in front of him finish off their talk, moved his bone arms to the side as a vortex of wind started forming. Possession magic, mana possession elemental burst. Thrusting his hands forward, Ins fired the two giant and powerful vortex at Sek and Asta. Both of them immediately took some distance from each other as Asta held his sword up preparing for an attack, while Sek sheathed his sword as his grimoire started floating beside him. That certainly is a string attack, but not something that the Dark Lord can't handle. Bronze creation magic, hands of giant. TCH, now even the bone bastard is using magic similar to Yuno's. What's so great about that handsome bastard and his magic? Yelled Asta as he saw the vortex of wind coming towards him and slashed it with his anti-magic sword, making the wind dissipate all over the area. Meanwhile, Sek opened his hands wide and so did the two giant bronze arms as well. He then smirked as he moved his hands with full force and clapped his hands together, making the two giant arms clap as well, which in turn made a strong gust of wind push back the vortex coming towards him, and soon the two of them cancelled each other out and pushed everyone back from their spots. Haha, see, that was nothing for me, said, as he narrowed his eyes to prevent dust from entering. That what you get for using Yuno's crappy magic, said Asta as he trusted his sword in the ground so as to not get blown away by the wind. Hey, this looks fun, I want to fight as well, said Luck with an excited expression on his face. I just wanted to go on a mixer, yelled Finral, who was now back in control of his body, desperately clinging onto a tree branch as he saw the parts of a skeleton being blown away by the wind. Chapter 73, The Date with Anna. After both Asta and Sek were able to neutralize An's magic, they decided to help the skeleton that got blown away in pieces and started reassembling him. But to their surprise, the bones that were scattered away soon started glowing and then rushed towards each other to assemble the body once again, and soon Ans was back to his normal skeleton form. Surprised by the sudden scene in front of them, both Asta and Luck looked at Ans with amazement. Oh yeah, Asta! Asta! Want to go to a mixer? Finral was asked me and you to go with him there. He said it will be fun. We can fight there too, said Luck with an excited look on his face. Finral, who was still hanging on the tree, mentally cursed Luck and then glanced at Sek. You are taking Asta and Luck to a mixer. Well, it's good for them. Well, anyway, have fun you guys, said Sek as he picked up the black bull robe that he found earlier and placed it around Ans's neck, who just gave him a nod. Sek nodded as well and then looked behind as he saw someone coming towards them. Sek, hurry up or you will be late, said Vanessa. Is it already that late? Well then, see you guys later. Have fun, said Sek as he went back to the HQ, leaving behind the others who were confused about what he had to do in the evening. Asta then asked Vanessa if she had any idea about what Sek was going to do, and in the end both him and Finral were shocked after hearing that he was going on a date. Well, then I am going, said Sek. Take care, said Vanessa. Make sure to get something delicious, La, said Charmy. Giving a nod to the two girls, Sek got out of the HQ building and saw Noelle forcing Magna to take her somewhere. She is most probably going to where Asta and the others are. Well, leaving that aside, Sek's grimoire started flipping as magic gathered in his hands. Bronze creation magic, bronze rider. As his bike appeared, Sek got on top of it but soon noticed Secret, who flew down and took her place on the bike. You coming as well, Secret? Asked Sek, to which Secret just turned towards him and put on her small shades. Sigh, well, as you wish, said Sek and poured mana into the bike and soon zipped away. Meanwhile, Secret, who was sitting in front of him, glanced back at her partner and thought, I am only doing this because his mother asked me to take care of him, and it is necessary to protect him from that bitch. Unaware of the thoughts of the anti-bird, Sek drove to his destination and soon arrived in front of the town where they agreed to meet. Deciding to enter the town, Sek got off his bike, deactivated his magic, and started to look around. While walking towards the meet-up destination, Sek noticed Anna, who was in her casual clothes, from a distance and took a deep breath. Alright, Sek Bronzeza, it's showtime, thought Sek as he walked towards Anna, who was walking towards the destination. Anna-san. Hearing her name being called out, Anna turned towards Sek and widened her eyes slightly. Hello. Thanks for coming on such short notice, said Anna. Thank you for inviting me, said Sek as he looked at the black-haired girl in front of him. This is getting awkward, thought Sek as both of them just stood silent in front of each other with Anna starting at Sek. If it is going to be like this, I don't think that I have to take any action, thought Sikre as she looked at the two of them from Sek's shoulder. But little did the anti-bird know that she just raised a flag, and a lewd one at that. Sek-kun. Yet. If it is not a bother to you, can we hold hands? Asked Anna without any hesitation. Hearing that, the people around them got silent and stared at the two of them with awkward looks on their faces. Many people were now looking at Sek as if wondering what will the boy reply to the girl's question. Sek was quite surprised as well by her sudden question and wondered if she was planning something. But he then noticed a faint blush on Anna's cheeks and with an awkward look on his face moved his hand forward. Sure, I don't mind, said Sek as Anna's eyes twinkled a bit. She then held his hands lightly and stood there without saying anything, but soon a smile that Sek knew was rare for her appeared on her face. Sek and the people around them blushed as they saw the expression on her face. Thank you, Sek-kun, said Anna as she looked up at Sek with a soft smile. And then for the first time in his life, the Dark Lord felt a throb in his heart. Sikre, who suddenly felt a bad premonition, immediately glanced towards her partner and saw him staring at Anna with a gaze that for some reason she didn't like at all. Don't fall for it, mentally yelled Sikre as she swatted Sek's head with her wing, making the Dark Lord snap out of his trance. Sikre then glared at Anna and thought, she is dangerous. Anna immediately noticed Sikre when she swatted Sek's head and noticed the bird glaring at her. Ow, what was that for, Sikre? Sek-kun, are you all right? Asked Anna. Yeah, anyways, shall we look around for a while? Asked Sek, to which Anna nodded with her usual emotionless face while she continued to hold his hand. My beak is really itching to peck a hole through their hands, thought Sikre as she looked at the lewd scene. Chapter 74, Identity Revealed. After the whole hand-holding ordeal with Anna was done, both Sek and Anna started to head to the place Charmy told him about. And believing that Charmy was someone who would never recommend places with bad food, Sek decided to follow his squad mate's advice and decided to take Anna there. Anna had no problem with that, since not only it was something that Sek recommended, but also because at the current moment, she was unable to process information correctly as she was lost in her thoughts while still holding Sek's hand. Sikre, who saw the two of them, was still a bit dissatisfied, but she felt a bit of relief too. She glanced at Sek and noticed that he was now back to his normal behavior and was not acting like how he did when the fire bitch, Anna, asked to let her hold his hand. Sek was now just leading the black-haired girl who was in her own world while greeting some people who recognized him from the zombie attack incident. He was back in his Dark Lord mode as he felt excited when some children looked at him with admiration. Sikre sighed seeing how simple her partner was and just hopped onto his shoulder and rubbed her head against his cheek. Sek, who felt the familiar sensation on his cheek, looked at Sikre with a smile and asked, What's with the sudden kindness? Did you get mesmerized by the Dark Lord as well? Sikre snorted at his comment, making Sek give a dry laugh before he started at the anti-bird and said, Feeling calm again? Or are you still moody? Sikre just looked away from him, gesturing that she was still pissed at him, but soon looked back at him only to notice his soft smile. Sikre just looked at Sek, who soon brought his hand close to her and caressed her head, making the anti-bird lean against his finger. But soon that caressing stopped as Sek declared that they arrived at their destination, making both Sikre and Anna snap out of their trance. Why so soon? Were the thoughts that the two girls shared as Sek soon freed his hand from Anna's and then went to check how the place was. Anna slowly followed behind him while Sikre just looked forward while still sitting on his shoulder. It's a tavern rather than a proper restaurant. Hey Anna, if you are not comfortable here we can just check out some other place. No problem Sek-kun. I am totally fine with this place, said Anna. After getting her consent, Sek opened the door of the tavern and got inside. He then looked around and noticed that a lot of people were in the tavern happily talking while enjoying their food and drinks. Well, ain't it a lively place, muttered Sek as he smiled seeing the people around him. Oh, welcome young man. Will you be eating here? asked the bearded man who was filling the mugs with drinks. That's the plan. Any seat available for 2 people? That corner there, said the old man as he gestured towards a corner as he carried the various drinks to the other customers. Sek and Anna soon took their seats and sat in front of each other. Sitting silently in front of each other, Sek felt that the situation was very awkward. So Anna, I know that this is late, but thanks a lot for keeping me safe while was passed out during the zombie incident, said Sek as he took out a present from his safe and presented it to Anna. Anna, who saw the present in Sek's hands, widened her eyes in surprise and said, Sek-kun, you don't have to do this. I would have saved you regardless of something like this. After all, asked Sek. You not only saved MS but gave me a way to move forward as well, said Anna with a low voice as Sek just tilted his head in confusion. Do you remember that time when you told me about the incident when you helped a child back in my hometown by giving away some food? Yeah, so, wait, I am having a feeling that I just raised a couple of flags just now, said Sek as he widened his eyes in realization. He stared at Anna, who looked confused by his comment and thought, black hair, the kid had them as well, huge boobs, noise, that weird passion of staying close to me even though she doesn't have a reason to. Are you the kid from back then? Asked Sek, to which Anna just gave a nod and lowered her head. Hey, now that's some news. Anyway, here's a present for you, said Sek as he passed the gift to Anna as if the previous incident never occurred. Both Sikray and Anna looked at Sek with amazement, not believing how he just brushed the sudden revelation aside. On the other hand, the Dark Lord was feeling happy as he thought, so I was great back then as well, hey, to make a child whom I helped not only remember but also become strong because of following my advice. Ah, it's tough being so great. Unaware of his thoughts, Anna was speechless and was unsure about what to say now. But that problem soon resolved as Sek looked back at her with a smile and asked, so looks like we met each other all the way back then. Sorry, I thought that you were a boy for all this time, so it never crossed my mind that you could be the kid whom I helped. NN, no need to apologize, I guess I looked very boyish back then, even the other kids used to tell me that, said Anna as she shook her head. Haha, well, no need to worry. So, why don't you open it? Asked Sek as he glanced at the present. But just accept it. If you are not comfortable taking it for helping me, then let's just say that I am giving this to you as a present for the date, said Sek. Anna smiled as she heard that and gave a nod before she started opening her present. Soon she opened the box and saw a single earring with a red gem. An earring. Not just any simple earring, it's a magic item that is capable of storing mana inside it and can provide you whenever you are in need. Though there is a limit to how much it can store, said Sek. Anna and Sikray were surprised as they heard the effects of the earrings, and seeing their expression, Sek was glad that he did take the trouble of finding something suitable in the pile of artifacts and riches in his storage. Though, in the end, he was not able to find the other one and decided to give her the one that he was able to find. Isn't it too precious? I can't possibly take something like this. I say otherwise. Protecting the life of the Dark Lord is no small task, and for that, I do say that it is a suitable gift, said Sek. Sorry, Sek-kun, but I think I made it clear that I will not take anything for saving you. So you can have it back, said Anna as she put the earring back in the box and moved it towards Sek. Sek looked at the box in front of him and slid it back towards Anna. No. Anna looked at the box in front of her and slid it towards Sek. Both of them locked eyes with each other as their small confrontation of passing the gift started making Sikray shake her head at their childish behavior. Soon the old man who was at the counter came and smacked both Anna and Sek for causing a ruckus and keep sitting there without even making an order. In the end, with him being unable to give the gift to Anna, Sek sighed and said, we will settle this later, but first let's order. Anna nodded but made up her mind that she wouldn't accept that gift, which was something that Sek realized as well and sighed. Soon their food and drinks arrived, and surprisingly Anna ordered alcohol, making Sek wonder if she was a strong drinker. And he soon got his answer. Sek-kun is so unfair. Do I really look like a boy? Asked a red-faced Anna who was totally wasted in just half a mug. Krrr. Even secret. Muttered Sek as he saw the drunk wobbly anti-bird walking towards the fellow drunk. Ah, Sek-kun's birdie, said Anna as she saw secret in front of her. Secure looked at the girl in front of her and continued to stare for a while, but soon raised her wings and started slapping her cheeks with all her might. Take this! Take this! Take this, thought Secret as she let loose of her frustration on the fire bitch. Sek just looked at the scene in front of him and wondered if he should inform Secret that she is so drunk that she is not hitting Anna at all, who was laughing hard seeing the bird doing something weird. Chapter 75, What does squi something mean? Sek. 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 Haha. Fell the power of the Dark Lord. Said Sek. Call you brat. Don't underestimate your elders. Sek looked at the well-built man in front of him with an excited expression on his face. The old man, as if noticing his gaze, looked back at him and glared at the blonde boy in front of him. Currently, at the tavern where Sek and Anna were dining, a small arm wrestling contest started of nowhere, and seeing that both Anna and Secret were asleep, Sek decided to take part in it as well. And at the current moment, Sek, who had 4 consecutive wins, was now against his 5th opponent. Both Sek and the old man gritted their teeth as the old man's hand started to slowly descend. You shitty kid! Said the old man as he tried to push Sek's hand back. I am not a kid. I am the Dark Lord. Declared Sek as he used all his strength to push the man's hand and made it touch the table. Dark Lord! The crowd erupted in excitement as all the drunk people near him shouted out loud as well. Sek laughed proudly as the crowd became even more excited, but then suddenly his gaze fell on the table where Anna and Secret were dozing off. It's already pretty late. I guess we should be leaving now, thought Sek as he pushed through the crowd and put Secret in his pocket before he carried Anna on his back, giving her a piggyback ride. He already paid the tavern owner and just left the building as the others waved him goodbye. Coming out of the tavern, Sek noticed that most of the stalls around him were already closed, signifying how late it was. But where should I drop Anna? I don't know where the Crimson Lion's HQ is. Muttered Sek and then glanced at the drunk girl on his back. Well, no choice then, thought Sek. The next morning when Anna woke up, she felt a severe headache because of her hangover, which made the expressionless lady's face scrunch up in pain. She then rubbed her eyes and then looked around and was confused by the unfamiliar room she was in. Sniff sniff asterisk. I reek of alcohol, oh shit. What did I do in front of Sek-kun? Muttered Anna as she remembered the events from last night. After calming down for a bit, she came out of her room with a small piece of paper in her hand. Room 302, muttered Anna as she knocked on the door. But no response came. Knock knock asterisk, Sek-kun? Sek-kun. And after a while, the door opened, and a barely awake Sek came out of the room. Oh, Anna Yang, good morning. Good morning. Replied Anna. Soon Sek started freshening up and got ready. Meanwhile, Anna just waited in Sek's room and just hoped that she didn't do something horrible or embarrassing in front of Sek while she was drunk. Sek soon came out and told Anna what she did after she got drunk and informed her that he booked the rooms in an inn since he didn't know where her squad's HQ was. Sighing in relief that she didn't do something too embarrassing, Anna thanked Sek for taking her to the inn. No problem. Anyway, how much should I pay you for the room? Asked Anna as she took out her wallet. No need for that, I already settled the bill last night, said Sek as he shook his head. That won't do. I should be the one paying. Not to mention all the trouble you took to carry me here. Don't fret about it. It was not a big deal. Don't lie, Sek-kun. It must have been troublesome. Not at all, so just leave it at that, said Sek, but Anna didn't relent at all. Then how about you treat me to a meal on the next date and we settle it with that? Said Sek. Hearing his words, both Anna and Secret widened their eyes in surprise and looked at Sek. You want to go out with me again? asked Anna. Ha! You want to go on another date with this girl, thought Secret as she looked at her partner. Realizing what he just said, Sek said, ah, right? If you are not troubled by it, do you want to meet sometime again? Sek although was not blushing like a girl but was still embarrassed a bit to ask out a girl. It was something he hadn't done in either of his lives since in his previous life any girl he started to take interest in mysteriously disappeared. Anna's brain short-circuited as she heard what Sek said. But soon she snapped out of her trance and furiously nodded her head. I would love to meet with you sometime again, replied Anna, hearing which Sek smile. All right then. After that, both of them had their breakfast and left for their respective squad HQ. What the hell happened here? Asked Sek as he looked around the totally wet common room of his HQ. It's Bakista's fault, said Noelle as she pointed at the monoless idiot. No, it wasn't my fault, Noelle did it, complained Asta. The two fellow rookies started arguing with each other. Ignoring the two of them, Sek asked Charmy about what happened here and found out the reason. Soon Yami came out while yawning and looked around the messy room. Hey, what the hell happened here? Asked Yami, not really caring about the situation. Asta slipped and fell on top of Noelle and touched a few of her no-no zone. She then got embarrassed and squirted water all around the hall, or so Charmy told me, said Sek as he joined Charmy in her brunch. Yes. That's what happened. Although, what does squi something mean? Asked Asta as he looked confused. Verwawawa, how dare you? Said an embarrassed Noelle. Sheesh, get a room to do all these nasty stuff, said Yami as he picked up his newspaper and headed to fight a battle against his mortal enemy, the toilet. Chapter 76, Training with Yami 2. Clang clang asterisk. Not good enough. Are you even trying, you dumbass? TCH, then how about this? Clang cling clang cling asterisk. Oh, you are picking the pace now. Keep going. Currently at a clearing in the forest near the Black Bull's HQ, Yami and Sek were having their occasional sword fight training. Ha! Cried Sek as he found an opening and tried to attack Yami. But Yami immediately used his katana to block Sek's strike and got pushed back because of the force. Both of them looked at each other with serious looks on their face as Sek pointed his sword at Yami and said, "Today is the day that I will beat you." Yami rested his sword on his shoulder and said, "We will see." And then dashed towards Sek intending to attack. Sek, who saw his captain going on the offensive, immediately parried the incoming attack. But the attack didn't stop at that. Yami immediately changed his sword's direction as he noticed Sek trying to attack him. Clank! Blocking the incoming attack, both Sek and Yami went to a standstill as Sek tried to push through. But Yami, being the physically stronger of the two, pushed Sek back and broke Sek's balance. Sek, who stumbled a step back, noticed the incoming katana and immediately used the flat part of his sword to redirect the attack away from him. Seeing that, Yami smirked as he noticed Sek's dead-set eyes on him. Sek, who was successful in redirecting the attack, immediately regained his balance and glanced at Yami, who now gave him an opening. Not wasting even a second, Sek's sword cit through the air in an upward slash. Yami, who noticed the incoming slash, slowly took a step back to avoid it, only to immediately widen his eyes in shock as he saw Sek take a step forward as well and change his attack's direction from a vertical upward slash to a horizontal slash aimed towards his chest. "Parry this, you filthy casual!" yelled Sek. "Oi! Do you want to kill me?" yelled Yami back as he bent his body backward, avoiding the sword, which was still able to cut some of his hair. "Stop dodging, you bastard! Take it like a man!" yelled Sek as he saw Yami avoid his attack by such a small margin. He then swept Yami's leg with his own, making his bent body fall on the ground, and tried to attack him once again, only for Yami to block his attack with his katana. Yami then immediately kicked Sek away, gaining some distance from him, and got back on his feet. Sek, who had his gut kicked by Yami, coughed and glared at Yami, who just wiped some sweat off his forehead and said, "Phew, that was close. Oi! Dumbass, I will beat the shit out of you." Tch, even that was not enough. Kirito mode on, declared Sek as he made another sword with his magic and took his stance. Hey, it's 2 against 1, that's not fair. Everything is fair for the Dark Lord, stated Sek as he rushed towards Yami. Yami narrowed his eyes as he saw Sek rushing towards him. Being more serious than before, Yami put his katana forward and blocked the 2 swords that were coming towards him. Too light? Shit, thought Yami as he noticed the smirk on Sek's face. Caught you, thought Sek as a malicious smirk containing all his frustration appeared on his face. Sliding his swords over the edge of Yami's katana, Sek redirected his swords away from Yami, only to stop the moment his swords got out of the katana's range and change his attack direction once again. Yami, who saw the incoming attack, tried to move his katana to block it, only to find one of Sek's swords blocking his katana's path. Shit, thought Yami as he got hit by the blunt sword which contained all of Sek's brute strength. Hell yeah! Take that, you bastard! The Dark Lord finally wins! Yelled Sek as he did Guts pose with an excited smile on his face. He then looked at Yami, who had his mana skin on, and said, "You used your mana skin, so you lose." Yami looked at Sek with an annoyed expression on his face and said, "You were just lucky this time, you dumbass. But still, good job." And clapped his hands. Seeing Yami clap his hand with a helpless expression on his face, Sek's smile widened as he felt that all the time he spent practicing his sword was worth it. Let me reward you for luckily defeating me this time, said Yami as he picked up his katana. Hearing that, Sek looked towards Yami and noticed his grimoire started flipping. Focus on my sword, said Yami as he held his sword tightly. Without even questioning his, Sek focused on Yami's katana and noticed his dark magic gathering on the katana. Dark magic, dark cloaked lightless slash. Calling out the name of his magic, Yami fired a dark magic slash towards the sky. Looks like I don't need to tell you what to do with that, right? Asked Yami as he glanced at Sek, who was already into deep thinking. Yeah, I guess so, cloaking magic, hey. Muttered Sek as he took out his debuff magic grimoire. Yami looked at Sek for a while and then lit up a cigarette and thought, he is going to be more annoying to deal with now, and then walked back to the HQ, leaving an excited Sek behind. Meanwhile, somewhere in a world filled with total darkness, a sudden flickering of light appeared as a deep voice echoed there. Looks like I got a new host. But as soon as those words came out, the light started dimming down and soon disappeared, leaving the world in darkness once again. Chapter 77, Sek and Charmy's Ingredient Hunt. A few days passed by since Yami and Sek had their training spar, where Sek barely defeated Yami. And since that day he was focusing on the trick that Yami showed him. Currently, in the common room of the Black Bulls HQ, Sek and Yami were cleaning their swords. You don't need to clean that sword of yours, right? Why the hell are you wasting my precious powder? Asked Yami as he wiped the blade of his katana. Oh come on, don't be so stingy, Yami-san. I know that I don't need to, but how can I not care for my precious partner? Besides, Xtace-chan is like a soulmate to me. So cleaning her is just my way of showing my gratitude. Saying so, Sek smiled seeing his sword. He then looked at how Yami maintained his katana and followed the same with his own Xtace. Finished with their clean-up, both Sek and Yami lifted their swords and showed satisfied smiles. Now then, on to the next thing, said Yami as he stood up and put his katana back into the scabbard. Sek looked at Yami curiously as he saw his captain walk away. That is not the way to the toilet, where is he going, thought Sek. Oi dumbass, gather everyone here within 10 minutes. Hearing Yami's command, Sek put his sword back as well and went to call the others. 10 minutes later, all the members of the squad gathered at the same place and stood before Yami, who handed them their salaries. Is it just me, of my pay increased way too much compared to the last month's? Oh, I forgot that I got promoted, thought Sek as he looked at his salary. With this, my job is done. Also tomorrow's a day off, said Yami as he started walking away, only to be confronted by Luck and Vanessa, who started asking him to fight and drink with them. Well, a day off hey. I wonder what should I do? Any suggestions secret? Asked Sek as he poked the anti-bird sitting on top of his shoulders. La, Sek-kun, Sek-kun. Suddenly, hearing his name being called out, Sek looked at his short senpai. Do you have anything to do tomorrow? Asked Charmy. Nothing as of now. Then come with me. I heard a large number of ingredients roaming around near a village. Let's go and get them all. Exclaimed Charmy as she raised her fist in the air. Ingredients? You mean monster hunting? Sure, I don't mind. What about you, Secret? Want to go with Charmy senpai? Asked Sek, to which the anti-bird just stared back at him. Sigh, well, if it means that he will stay away from that fire bitch, Anna, thought Secret. Then it's decided. Let's get going then. Declared Charmy as various sheep appeared around Sek and Charmy. Hey, you mean right now? Asked Sek as the sheep held Sek and started running on Charmy's command. Seeing the two leave, Asta and Noel just waved them goodbye as Noel looked at Asta and asked, Bakista, are you not planning to follow them? Normally you would be yelling and screaming by now about how you will defeat Sek or something. Ah, I really want to go and challenge Sek, but I have something to do tomorrow, that's why I can't go with them, replied Asta. Something to do? Asked Noel. Yeah, I am going to meet Rebecca and her siblings tomorrow, replied Asta. Hey! Hearing his words, Noel remembered the red-haired girl that Asta met at the mixer. He is going to meet that girl. I feel like I am missing something really interesting right now, muttered Sek as he took another one of the many snacks that Charmy prepared for their journey. La, try this one as well, said Charmy as she offered another one of her new dishes to Sek and Secret. Sek and Secret looked at the new dish that the little senpai offered them and gulped. Both of them were already filled to their limits, but the food looked so enticing that they were unable to resist the temptation. I will have to burn all these calories tomorrow, thought Sek as he took a plate from Charmy and offered some of the food to Secret. By the way, Charmy senpai, why are we leaving so early? It's still night. Is there something specific you are aiming for? Asked Sek. La, you are correct, Sek-kun. You see, there is this tree monster that only roams during the night. I want to There they are. Charmy, who was in the middle of her explanation, suddenly yelled out loud and pointed at a group of trees. Sek and Secret looked toward the place she was pointing at and saw various trees, but were not able to tell if they were any different from just their appearance. But Sek and Secret were both adept at sensing mana and could indeed tell that the trees were not normal. Suddenly the trees started shaking, making Sek and Secret a bit wary. La! After them, my sheep! Ordered Charmy as the sheep that were carrying them and were around them started running towards the trees. As if in response to that, the trees got uprooted from the ground and some sort of legs became visible. Faces appeared on the trunks of the trees, and Sek and Secret could clearly tell from their expressions that they were not the least bit friendly. Well, looks like I will be burning those calories right now, said Sek as one of his grimoires started hovering beside him. Mana started gathering around the trees and Sek became serious as well and started preparing a defensive spell for the incoming attack. Yay! The trees screeched in unison as roots started emerging from the ground. But contrary to Sek's expectations, instead of rushing toward them in some sort of attack, the roots rose up and formed a wall in front of the trees. La, this is bad. The trees will run away and hide in the forest, and it will be very difficult to find them there, said Charmy in a panicked tone. Hearing that, Sek looked staring at the wall of trees in front of him and then turned back towards Charmy. Charmy senpai, throw me up in the air. La. Hearing that, Charmy looked at Sek, but seeing the confident expression on his face, she ordered her sheep to throw Sek up in the air. Sek, who was now up in the sky, looked past the wall of trees as both of his grimoires started floating beside him. Bronze creation magic, weapon make minigun and ice debuff magic, frost touch. Mana gathered around Sek's hands as two miniguns appeared in front of his hands. They are fast for just being trees, muttered Sek as a smirk appeared on his face and he pointed his hands towards the trees. Now let me show you the Dark Lord's shooting capabilities, said Sek as he channeled magic to the miniguns. The guns started rotating and bullets made up of mana launched toward the tree monsters. One of the monsters who felt the bullets closing in on them looked toward Sek only to be hit by a bullet. The moment the bullet hit the tree, it stopped moving as a layer of ice appeared all over its body. Seeing one of their buddies stopping suddenly made the other monsters look toward Sek as well, making them meet a similar fate as their frozen comrade. Sek, who was done with his job, looked towards the ground and landed in the arms of the sheep. He then rushed toward the other sheep who were near the wall of trees and just sighed as he heard the cheerful voice of the excited Charmy from the other side of the wall. Chapter 78, I was being serious though. After Charmy was done collecting the fruits from the tree monsters, Sek defrosted the trees and set them free. Seeing the tree monsters run back to the forest, Sek sighed and picked up a fruit that Charmy collected. So was that it, or do you have some more plans? Asked Sek. La. We are just getting started, Sek-kun, declared Charmy as she pumped up her fist in the air. Well, as long as you let me taste those delicious dishes as well, said Sek as Sekre landed on his shoulder and nodded her head as well. Charmy showed a thumbs up to Sek as she took out a map from her bag. Sek smiled seeing his excited senior and just fell back on the sheep standing behind him. After Charmy was done collecting the fruits, she ordered her sheep army to take her to the next location. Sek and Sekre asked Charmy about the place they were heading to, and after knowing that it was going to take a while, the two decided to take a nap on top of the fluffy sheep. Seeing that Charmy chided the two for not being enthusiastic about the food, to which Sek and Sekre just snorted and went back to sleep. Just wake me up when we reach the place, or when you think we are in a danger, said Sek as he drifted back to his sleep. And just like that, Sek and Charmy continued their adventure, with Charmy showing Sek some hunting tips that even the hunter whom he used to accompany before didn't know about. Sek, who had been hunting since he was a kid, had a newfound respect for Charmy and asked Charmy to teach him more of her methods. Charmy, being Charmy, immediately decided to do so as she heard Sek praise her. And just like that, their hunt was over. Later that day, Charmy and Sek finally came back to the Black Bull's HQ, only to see some of the members not being there. The people present in the HQ were Yami, Finral, Gordon, Gray, Vanessa, and Ans. Oh, my dear friends, I am glad that you are back. Now let's sit together and listen to the adventures that you had, said Gordon in a soft voice. Gordon-san, let's do that later. I am going to take a bath and then head to bed straight, said Sek as went to the bathroom. Later that night, Sek, who was tired from hunting, was sleeping when suddenly he heard a loud bang, making both him and Sekre jump up in surprise. Oi, dumbass, wake up! Turning towards the source of the voice, Sek found Yami standing there along with Finral, who was being dragged by Yami. What happened, Yami-san? Some guy just dropped here and said that they needed back or something. The others are totally wasted. So get your ass up and come downstairs, said Yami as he turned back and went down while dragging Finral along with him. Sek rubbed his eyes for a while but soon got up and put on his uniform. What the hell is wrong with people? What kind of situation it might be that they need backup? Muttered Sek as he went down. Hurry up, dumbass, said Yami as he lit his cigarette. Where are Asta and Noel? Are they still not back? Asked Sek as he looked around the room. They are the ones who need the backup, said Yami as he puffed up a smoke. Sek blinked his eyes at the sudden information and just stared blankly at Yami and Finral. Potoli, thought Sek, and then looked towards the bird sitting on his shoulder. Sekre, wait for me here. It might be dangerous, said Sek as he looked towards Sekre seriously. Sekre looked at her partner's face and was about to peck him, but seeing the serious look that Sek was giving her, Sekre nodded and then rubbed her head against his cheek. Be careful out there, thought Sekre as she flew off his shoulder. Sek then stood beside Yami and Finral and gave a nod, gesturing that he was ready to go. All right then. Oi, open a portal to their location, said Yami as he looked at Finral. Why yes. shouted Finral as he opened a portal. But as soon as the portal opened, both Sek and Yami felt the amount of mana coming from the other side of the portal and took out their swords. The duo then jumped through the portal and immediately noticed the speeding projectile that was launched in their direction. Sek was about to deflect the projectile with his sword, but Yami beat him to it and slashed it with his katana. The two then landed on the ground and Sek's eyes immediately landed on the blonde man with a white robe. A magic power comparable to mine, thought Sek as the blonde man gave a small smile on seeing the new opponents appearing out of the portal. Captain Yami. Sek. What are you two doing here? Asked Asta. Why am I here? Well, obviously, I'm a little lost. Give me some directions, damn it, said Yami as he puffed out some smoke out of his mouth. I was kidnapped by the tank top wearing suspicious man, said Sek as he pointed at Yami. Hey? What the hell did you say, you bastard? Said Yami in a threatening tone as he glared at Sek. Captain, you were lost. And you kidnapped Sek? Yelled Asta. Hearing the annoyingly loud noise, both Sek and Yami looked at Asta as Yami grabbed Asta's head and started crushing it. Of course not, you moron. I was joking, dumbass, said Yami. I was being serious though, muttered Sek as he looked away when he noticed Yami glare at him. Chapter 79, I should not catch one of those with my bare hands. We are magic knights. Of course, we're going to show up, said Yami as he continued crushing Asta's head. He dragged me out of bed and now we're in this mess, thought Finral as he looked at the amount of destruction around him. By the way, didn't I tell you to take a day off? Want me to give you a permanent vacation? Asked Yami in a threatening tone, making Asta scream in pain. Ow, 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 ow. Yami-san, we have someone waiting for you to get over with what you are doing, said Sek as he looked towards the blonde man with flashy clothes. Yami too then looked towards the man and finally let go of Asta. So, what's the deal with him? Asked Yami. Apparently he's the leader of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, replied Asta. The Eye of the Midnight Sun, exclaimed Finral. Hat? I thought he'd be some big, burly guy who could eat a cow in a single gulp, but he's just a scrawny-ass beanpole, said Yami. He wears too much makeup and jewelry as well, said Sek as he focused himself on any incoming attack that might come his way. He knew that light magic was supposed to be the fastest magic there was, so he just wanted to be on the safer side. The zombie-looking guy then landed beside the blonde man and said, "That's the Black Bull's captain, and the other kid is the one who hindered our plan at the capital. Shall I summon the third eye?" asked the zombie-looking man. "No, I've always wanted to fight him, since he uses dark magic," said the light magic user. It's going to start soon, thought Sek as he unsheathed his sword. Finral senpai, get the kids and the injured to the town. Asta, if you think that you will slow us down, then go with him, said Sek. Sure, leave it to me, replied Finral. I can still fight, replied Asta as he looked at Yami's back and got excited, thinking that he was finally going to see him in action. Just as he said that, Finral asked Ghosh and some white-haired kid if they were fine and all, and after he made sure that they were okay, he turned towards Yami and said, "All right, Yami-san. I'm leaving the rest to you guys." "Oi, you better come back," said Yami as he glared at Finral. Hearing that, Finral started sweating and started making excuses. But soon after that, Sek felt mana building up and noticed a blade of light launched towards Finral. Honestly speaking, I expected it to be faster. Well, can't complain though, it's hard to fulfill the Dark Lord's expectations after all. Yami intercepted the blade of light with his sword, making it shatter into small particles. "The hell do you think you're doing to my ride?" said Yami as he glared threateningly at the light magician. "So those blades just got speed, hey?" They shattered immediately when they hit his katana, thought Sek as he raised his sword and pointed it towards the light magic user. Extend, and almost instantly Sek's sword extended forward and pierced through the light magician's stomach. Or so it seemed, but the light magic user just barely dodged the fatal wound. Oh, you really are fast. Even luck is not able to dodge one of those. But still looks like you did get hurt, said Sek in a slightly surprised tone. The light magic user looked at his stomach and saw that the blade did slice through a part of his waist, making him frown. You. But before he could complete his sentence, Sek moved his hand, making his extended sword move along with it and slice through the light magic user once again. Surprised by the unexpected outcome, the sword struck the wound once again and cut him even deeper. But the light magic user didn't lose his composure and moved once again at light speed and appeared behind Sek and the others. Oi, dumbass, wait for my instructions. The makeup man was about to say something, said Yami as he looked towards Sek. Do you want to hear his monologue? I mean, he is the leader of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and oi, idiot, heal up or something while we are chatting, don't just watch us talk, said Sek as he looked at the bleeding man who was almost cut in half. He might have some important shit to share with us, said Yami as he totally ignored the terrorist leader. Hey, we can just torture him and get info out of him later when we are done with kicking his ass, said Sek as he too ignored the terrorist leader. The light magic user who just got advice from Sek had some nerves popping on his forehead as his grimoire started flipping. Light magic, healing ray of light. The man started glowing as the wound started to close up at a great speed. Listen here, it feels better when you beat someone after he is done with his monologue, said Yami, totally uninterested in the now healed up enemy. Yeah, I do agree with that. It makes the difference between me and the opponent clearer, said Sek as he nodded sagely. Seeing the two not even looking at him, the light user clenched his fists as his grimoire started flipping. Light magic, light swords of conviction. Multiple swords made of light magic appeared behind the man as all of them pointed toward the black bulls. Finally sensing the amount of mana gathering near them, both Sek and Yami looked towards the light swords and thought, oh, he was here too. And immediately light swords started raining on them. Yami looked at the incoming blades and just let Ki guide him and started intercepting the swords. Sek on the other hand didn't know how to use Ki, but his senses were already sharp enough to keep up with the incoming blades of light as he too started intercepting the light swords. Amazing! Exclaimed Asta as he saw both Yami and Sek easily deflect the swords that he couldn't even follow with his eyes. Calm down. I should not lose my cool, thought Patoli as he looked at Yami and Sek. He is using magic to strengthen himself and cutting my light magic with a sword cloaked in dark magic, but that's not all. His gaze then fell on Sek and he narrowed his eyes. He on the other hand is just using magic to strengthen himself. What is that sword? Thought Patoli. He felt anger well up from the inside as he looked at Sek. How about this then? Thought Patoli. He is about to move, thought Sek as he felt mana gathering inside the light magic user's body. And just as he thought, Patoli appeared behind Yami as light magic started gathering on his palms. But without even looking behind him, Yami cut the light magic with his sword. So, this is the power of the great magic knight heretic, said Patoli. Seriously, I want to learn that as well, thought Sek as he wished to learn Ki as well. Oi, dumbass! Stop using that sword of yours. It's way too much of a cheat for a battle of this level. You won't break your limits like that, said Yami as he tried to pierce the man only for him to move up in the air at light speed. Well, depending too much on items is not a good habit, said Sek as he looked at Xdace once more before he sheathed it. Anyway, let's just make it challenging, said Sek with a smirk as a new sword made up of his magic appeared in his hand. But just as he said that, a black portal appeared below Sek's feet. Really, the same trick as before. Do you guys even less, complained Sek as he jumped to dodge the portal only to see a flash of light in front of him as a hand appeared in front of him. Sek closed his eyes because of the sudden brightness but still reacted fast enough to slash toward the incoming person as he felt his sword cut into some flesh once again. Don't you dare underestimate me, you bastard! You are against the Dark Lord, said Sek as he grabbed the stunned man in front of him and threw him through the portal at full force, making Potoli appear in front of Voltos, who was about to fire a mana bullet through the portal. The light magic user crashed into the zombie-like man and both of them got hurt in the process. It's very disappointing considering that he is supposed to be the leader, thought Sek as he looked at his hand, which was bruised because of blocking the light magic attack. I should not catch one of those with my bare hands, muttered Sek as he opened and closed his palm and scrunched a bit because of the slight stinginess he felt. Why you? Sek looked towards the source of the voice and saw a slightly angry elf. The warm-up is done, I guess. Now let's get serious, said Sek. Chapter 80, let me finish my story. Seeing the elf glare at him, Sek just narrowed his eyes and smirked at the elf. The elf clenched his teeth as anger soared inside him, but it faded away soon as he heard the groan of the zombie looking below him. Sheesh, doing a kabadon in front of us. Get a room you two, said Yami as he blew out some smoke. Sek looked at his totally chill captain and thought, well, I mean, with the two of us here, he is not that much of a threat. Voltos, are you okay? Asked the elf. Lick-sama, I apologize for my intervention, said Voltos. Don't worry, you tried your best. But I think that you should leave those two to me, said Licht as he stood once again. You foolish humans, never seem to understand your place, said Licht as his grimoire started flipping pages. Light magic, light swords of conviction. Multiple swords of light started gathering behind Licht, seeing which Sek's grimoire started flipping as well. Dark debuff magic, dark touch. Sek applied the dark magic on the sword he was holding, as he knew that it would be easier to deal with light magic with a sword enchanted with dark magic. And as soon as Sek finished applying dark magic on his sword, the rain of swords made of light magic started. Seeing that, Sek turned serious and started intercepting the swords. It's faster now, thought Sek as he destroyed the first sword that appeared in front of him. And soon multiple light swords started attacking Yami and Sek. TCH, it's getting a bit challenging, muttered Sek as he felt a bit of difficulty in keeping up with the speed of swords. It was true that he could still see the incoming attacks, but now they were appearing more like a blur to him. Previously he was able to deal with the attacks just by his instincts that were honed through his various years of being chased around by magic beasts during the hunt, but now the attacks were getting a tad bit more difficult to keep up with. TCH, getting full of yourself thinking that using faster swords could let you have an advantage against the Dark Lord. Let me show you what a real attack feels like, thought Sek as his grimoire started flipping pages. Oi dumbass, you giving up already? Geez, what a wimp, said Yami in a mocking tone as he kept on destroying the swords while looking at Sek and taking a puff from the cigarette which was in his other hand. Sek, who heard Yami's mocking tone, widened his eyes in surprise and immediately his grimoire stopped flipping pages. Did that asshole just call me, the Dark Lord, a wimp, thought Sek as his eyes widened in shock. He looked towards Yami, who was intercepting the attack without any difficulty while casually looking at him and smoking a cigarette. That bastard is totally showing off, right now, thought Sek. Who the hell are you calling a wimp, you bastard? Yelled Sek as he kept on using his sword to deal with the light swords which were grazing him from time to time. Who the hell did you call a bastard, you dumbass? Asked Yami in a cold tone as he started to move towards Sek while still deflecting the swords. Do you have the time to focus on each other? Asked Licht in a slightly annoyed tone as he saw Yami and Sek ignoring him once again, with Yami not even damaged by his attack. Licht stopped attacking Sek and focused solely on Yami, who noticed that, stopped moving towards Sek and got a bit serious. Sek, who was finally free from the incoming attacks, soon took a deep breath to calm himself down and said, to ignore the Dark Lord during a battle. That elf is going to pay for this. Oi, Sek, are you alright? Yelled Asta as he came running towards him. Hey, you were still alive? Asked Sek. Oi! Don't just kill me yet. Anyway, are you fine? I am the Dark Lord, you idiot. I am never not fine, said Sek as he looked towards Yami and saw him talking with the elf. But you got hit by those swords. Meh, they are fast but weak. My bronze body magic is enough for dealing with that. But it still pisses me off seeing how his attacks are faster for me," said Sek. He then looked towards Yami and said, "Well, no good will happen by just standing here. I am going back to deal with that elf bastard and make him pay for ignoring me." Seeing Sek walk towards Yami, Asta immediately followed behind him, and soon both of them stood near the light and dark magic users. But, he kicked all their asses and became the boss of a group. "The end," said Yami as he slashed the final light sword. "Well? What do you think of my response, Fable?" "Well, it's half of my life, actually." "You bastard! You dare mock Lick-sama!" yelled Voltos. "Shut up! Your face is scary. Why are there lines on your face?" yelled Yami in response. "Oh, you all are exchanging stories, hey? Then let me tell you about the tale of the number 1 hyperactive, knuckled ninja. The tale of Naroi. Let me finish my story," yelled Sek as he saw the incoming light sword and destroyed it. "I don't have time for your useless stories," said Licht as he looked at Sek. He then looked at Yami and said, "As a foreigner, I suppose my story had nothing to do with you. Would you mind stepping off the stage, then?" And immediately light swords which were even faster than the previous ones started raining down on Yami. Seeing that, Sek immediately got ready, but Yami raised his hand to stop him and started dealing with the swords. "I wonder how long can you avoid a fatal blow?" said Licht with a calm look on his face. "I really want to show that elf what fatal would actually are," muttered Sek as he saw swords grazing Yami from time to time. But as if not even hearing his question, Yami asked, "Are you the guy who took out Fuegoleon?" Hearing his question, Licht affirmed and started telling about how he set up a plan and all. Yami got slightly pissed at the elf and immediately went on the offensive, seeing which Sek looked at his sword and thought, "What am I even doing here, if I won't even get to fight?" Chapter 81, Key. Seeing his captain and the elf fighting a literal battle of light vs dark, Sek looked toward Asta, who was looking at the battle with awe. "Well, it is a great fight. But seeing how chill Yami-san is against that elf bastard's light speed attacks is making me a bit pissed. Well, seeing that I am not getting my turn anytime soon. Let's get back to practice," muttered Sek as he lifted his sword. "Eh? You are going to practice right here?" asked Asta. "Yeah, I mean Yami-san is kicking his shining butt. So I don't think that we need to worry that much. Not to mention I am on the backup if things start to look bad for Yami-san," said Sek. "Who is the backup here, you dumbass?" said Yami as he landed beside the two boys and smacked Sek's head. Ignoring the fact that Yami just smacked him, Sek looked toward Licht and noticed a couple of cuts around his body. He then looked at Yami and said, "Teach me this trick that you are using to fend off those light attacks." "Hey? Do you want to learn my secret technique?" asked Yami as he looked at the beat who asked him before he was going to make him learn to sense ki. "Alright then, but I will explain only once. The next time I am going to charge 500 yells. Oi short brat, get here as well," said Yami as he smacked another light sword. Hearing that, Asta stood near the two and started hearing Yami's explanation about ki. After he was done telling them about ki, he raised his sword and smacked a magic bullet that came towards Asta from behind. "Good timing. Practice on that scrawny dude with slanty eyes," said Yami as he pointed at Voltos. "Hey! On the scrawny dude with slanty eyes? That's too sudden." "Of course, I can't," said Asta. "From where I come from there is a saying. A warrior never goes back on his word. You said you were going to become the Wizard King, didn't you? Surpass your limits. Right here, right now. There's no other way." Asta stared at Yami for a while before a determined look appeared on his face. "Yes sir!" yelled Asta as he took a stance. "What about me, Yami-san? The scrawny dude is slow for me." "He won't do," asked Sek as he pointed toward the zombie-looking guy. "You are going to deal with that light show," said Yami as he pointed his sword at Licht. Sek nodded and then stepped forwards and said, "Then that means you are not going to interfere in my fight." "Hey, who said that? 10 minutes, that's all I am giving you." "Learn ki within that limit," said Yami as he kicked Asta, who tried to sense the bullet only through his ears. "Hey? Only 10 minutes? That's way too less!" yelled Sek as he looked back at Yami. "Ho, well I guess it's way too much to ask from a dumbass like you," said Yami with a sigh. "Just you wait, that elf bitch is going down within 5 minutes, and that includes me leaning this key shit as well," said Sek with a being popping on his forehead. Sek looked towards Licht, who was looking at them with his usual calm expression on his face, and said, "The moment I master this key thing, you should be prepared for the consequences of ignoring the Dark Lord earlier." And then gestured for the elf to continue. He then closed his eyes and immediately cleared his mind and then took a deep breath. "Concentrate, concentrate, clear your mind. Control your breathing," thought Sek as the sounds around him slowly started to disappear. Yami's eyes immediately widened as he noticed the change in Sek's ki, and a huge grin appeared on his face. "This dumbass really is a monster of some sort," thought Yami. Light, who was provoked by Sek, pointed all the light swords behind him towards Sek, but still decided to take a bit of caution and fired just a single sword at him. Seeing the sword fly towards Sek at full speed, Yami, Licht, and Asta looked at the scene with suspense, wondering what was going to happen. And just as the sword reached near Sek, the three widened their eyes in shock. Haha, haha, it was my mistake to expect much from a human," said Licht with a laugh as he saw Sek's sword flying out of his hand in a completely different direction. Sek. Ouch! What was that for?" yelled Asta as he saw Sek being hit by the sword. "Don't shout, that brat is about to break his limits," said Yami with a serious look on his face. Not hearing what Yami said, Licht started firing light swords at Sek, which continued to hit him. Though all of them got destroyed as soon as they hit Sek's body because of his bronze body spell. "I've wasted a lot of my time on you. It's time to get this over with," said Licht as the light swords started shining even brighter and immediately launched at Sek at an even faster speed. "What a surprise, you took the words right out of my mouth," said Sek in a calm tone as he opened his eyes and looked towards the incoming light sword and punched it with full force. Seeing the staring light sword being destroyed by Sek's punch, Licht's eyes widened in shock as Sel looked at his fist with a slightly dissatisfied expression on his face. "It was a bit off, looks like it will take a bit of practice to get the precision up to a level." Seeing Sek ignoring him once again, Licht got even more pissed at the blonde guy in front of him and started firing all the light swords towards Sek. Feeling the mana coming towards him, the Dark Lord glanced at the incoming light attack and said, "Well, let's strike while the iron is still hot," and started punching the incoming light swords at full speed. "Haha, this shit is amazing. So this is what Ultra Instinct feels like," exclaimed Sek as he was punching through the volley of light swords without even properly being able to see them. "Shit, this is reminding me of some bad memories," muttered Yami as he saw Sek punching through the light attacks. He remembered the figure of a woman using fire magic to punch the hell out of him with an excited expression on her face. A shiver ran down his spine as he looked at Sek, who was now advancing towards Licht at full speed while dodging at punching through the light swords. Soon he got quite close to Licht and started gathering mana over his fist. "Reinforce my body with reinforcement magic, gather magic around my arm in layers," thought Sek as purplish mana started gathering around his fist. Seeing the familiar mana, Yami looked at Sek with surprise and said, "Oi! I will sue you for copyright. Shut up and just witness the might of the Dark Lord," yelled Sek as the blank pages in his grimoire started shining as words started appearing in it. "Dark debuff magic, dark cloaked magic smash. Smash!" yelled Sek, as the mana gathered around his fist, launched forward in form of a shock wave of dark magic, destroying all the incoming light swords in an instant, and headed towards Licht, who immediately moved from his spot along with the fallen Voltos. Soon the elf appears at a different spot as Sek looked at him with a smirk and said, "Be prepared to face the might of Dark Lord. I am not going to hold back now." Chapter 82, Deciding Blow. Licht, who saw the shock waves of the dark magic used by the blonde magic knight in front of him, narrowed his eyes as the said magic knight just cracked his knuckles. "Looks like I have to take this bug seriously," muttered Licht. Feeling that the elf got a bit serious, Sek just smirked as he got ready to deal with the next wave of attacks. But all of a sudden he felt something with his ki and immediately turned around only to duck the next instant, dodging a fist aimed at his face. "So this dumbass really learned how to sense ki this quick, talk about creepy," said Yami as he looked at Sek. "What the hell was that for? 10 minutes still aren't up," yelled Sek as he glared at his squad captain. "How dare you copy my magic, you dumbass? Do you even know how long it took me to come up with those names?" said Yami as he pointed his finger at Sek. "You don't come up with the names. The grimoire does," yelled Sek back. "For copying my idea I demand payment," said Yami as he opened his hand asking for money. "Like hell, I am gonna give you money," said Sek as he started back at Yami. Licht, who saw the two of them ignore him yet again, was getting very irritated at the duo. "To mock me to this extent?" Veins popped up on Licht's forehead as he saw the two men arguing. His mana flared up, making the two of them finally stop and look at the elf. "Oh yeah, we still have to deal with this guy," said Sek. "So he was still there, huh? He sure is persistent like a cockroach," said Yami as he puffed his cigarette. "CCO. Did you just call me a cockroach?" "Yup," said Yami as he stared at the elf. The elf remained motionless for a while when suddenly his grimoire started flipping. A large amount of mana gathered around the elf as a whip made of light appeared in his hands. "Light magic, bright judgment whip." The long whip made of light started thrashing around, destroying the cave they were in. "I will crush you all like the bugs that you all are," declared Licht as he violently thrashed the whip around. Sek, Yami, and Asta immediately started dodging the falling rebel as they gathered around. Sek's and Yami's grimoire started flipping as both of them formed a barrier around them. Bronze magic, magnum shell. Dark magic, black cocoon. The two magics overlapped each other and formed a barrier around the trio as the rebel fell on top of them. "That's why I was saying instead of letting the dude monologue, we should deal with the bastard," said Sek. "Hat, if you would have dealt a deciding blow this wouldn't have happened," said Yami with a snort, making Sek glare at the man. The two glared at each other for a while, and once the crumbling stopped, the two of them along with Asta jumped out of the rubble. "You bastard, how dare you to drop all that rubble on me," said Yami as he pointed his katana at the elf. The elf along with the zombie guy stared at the trio, although the zombie guy was shocked seeing the three of them make it out of his master's spell without any scratches at all. "Now let's take it up a notch. Oi chibi dumbass, deal with the scrawny-faced guy." "All right. Hope you are ready, scrawny-faced dude." "Good, I will deal with the light show," said Yami. "Wait a minute. That light bulb is my opponent," interrupted Sek. "Hey, what are you talking about? 10 minutes are up." "Your turn's over," said Yami. "That didn't count, I took a break during the time the rebel fell on us," said Sek. "Sounds like a you problem. Should have dealt a deciding blow when you had the chance," said Yami as Sek continued to argue with his captain, ignoring the elf once again. "Then how about this, you fight him for 5 minutes and after that, I switch in and fight for 5 minutes, after which you switch back and so on," suggested Sek as he tried to bargain. "Hey, now why would I do that for? If you can deal with him in your turn duration I will give you 1,000 yuls, said Sek as he moved his hand forward. "Deal." Not even thinking twice, Yami shook Sek's hand and looked at the elf with an excited look on his face. "Those 1,000 yuls are mine. It's been a while since I've let loose," said Yami. "Oi, light show, try to last at least 5 minutes. You can do it," cheered Sek as he looked towards the elf. "You two are seriously annoying." "Hey! You are cheering for that guy!" yelled Yami as he looked towards Sek. "The clock is ticking, Yami-san," said Sek with a smile as he looked at the angry man. "Tch. Clicking his tongue, Yami tightened his muscles as mana gathered around him and erupted in the form of powerful pressure. Licht, who was angry beyond reason, fired light swords at the man as Yami lifted his sword and gathered dark magic around it. He then fired a dark magic slash at the light swords and rushed toward the elf. "Come here, you 1000, yell light bulb. I am gonna smash you," yelled Yami as he jumped toward the incoming light swords, slashing them apart and following the elf. "You can do it, light bulb, just 4 minutes more and you can go down without any issues," yelled Sek as he saw the clash between the light and dark magic users, making sure to jump in as soon as the time was up. "You two are pissing me off," yelled Licht as he looked toward the two black bulls he was up against. "Shut up and just get hit." Dark magic, dark cloaked lightless slash. The blade of dark magic destroyed the light spell, seeing which the elf teleported once again. "Stop being a pussy and take it like a man," complained Yami as he ran towards the elf move again. Seeing the man rushing towards him, Licht made a sword of light in his hand and rushed towards Yami as well. Seeing that, Yami slashed at him as the two blades clashed against each other, making the two of them stop in their tracks. The two soon separated as Yami said, "You have a 4-leaf clover grimoire, which means that you are a citizen of the Clover Kingdom, right?" But instead of answering him, the man rushed toward Yami and started attacking him with his sword. Yami blocked the sword and jumped back, seeing which the elf smirked and said, "You are wide open," and immediately changed his light sword into a light whip and used it to attack Yami. Yami, on the other hand, just looked at the elf as his magic gathered around his katana. He cut the whip into pieces as he immediately jumped toward the surprised elf and with his full power tried to cut him in half, only for th elf to move away at light speed as a dust cloud appeared around the area he was standing before. Licht then appeared in midair and started telling Yami about the discrimination in the Clover Kingdom. Yami just sighed and looked at the elf with a disinterested look on his face and said, "I am not seeing the point here. But I know one thing, I hate your guts." Jumping back into the fight, Yami started fighting the elf once again as Sek looked noticeably worried. "Shit. At this rate, Yami-san will win soon. Oi, take a bit more time, you bastard. Don't you want to break your limits in the toilet or something?" Sek's gaze then fell on Asta, who was struggling with his fight but didn't interfere just yet. He could see that Asta wasn't struggling much, and knowing him, he knew for sure that he will soon find a way to deal with his opponent. Sek looked back toward the Yami-Licht fight only to see that Yami was just in front of the elf with a spell charged up around his sword. Fugue. Dark magic, dark cloaked lightless slash. The dark magic slash traveled toward the elf without giving him any time to dodge the incoming attack, and a huge cut appeared on the elf's torso as blood spilled out. "You just had to last 1 more minute," yelled Sek as he saw the elf fall to the ground. "Captain Yami!" yelled Asta, who miraculously was able to deal with his opponent at the same time. "Nicely done, chibi dumbass. Bigger dumbass, get those 1000 yells ready," said Yami as he pointed at Sek. "Tch, whatever. I didn't want to fight that weak elf anyway," said Sek as he kicked a pebble near him. Chapter 83, Well, looks like I haven't fucked the plot that much. While Yami was talking with Sek and Asta, Licht got back up on his feet, albeit stumbling a bit. "You got me," said Licht with a calm expression on his face despite looking quite beaten up. Hearing him, the 3 black bulls looked back at the elf, who out of nowhere, started explaining his theory about Yami's magic. "You are right. By the way, what's up? You can use recovery magic, can't you? So hurry up and heal. But while you're healing yourself, I'm going to get real close and chop you up even more," said Yami as he held his dark magic radiating katana up. Now, Yami-san, don't forget the deal that we made." Suddenly hearing a familiar voice interrupting him, Yami looked toward Sek. "Hey? What deal, dumbass?" asked Yami. 5 minutes are up," said Sek with a smirk on his face. Realizing what Sek meant, Yami looked back at Licht, who was still standing, and clicked his tongue. "Oi, that didn't count, that bastard was monologuing for a while," said Yami as he pointed his katana. Sek, who was now doing his stretches, looked at Yami and shrugged his shoulders. Sounds like a you problem. Sek then turned his attention towards Licht, who was looking back at him, and said, I hope you are prepared to face the Dark Lord. I'll admit that you are quite strong and very troublesome for our goal, but still compared to Yami Sukiro you are not that dangerous, said Licht. Don't underestimate the Dark Lord, no one had a good time after doing that, said Sek as he finally got ready to get back into the fight. Thanks for the heads up, but I don't. Bronze creation magic, weapon make Gaster Blaster. Not even allowing Licht to finish his speech, Sek attacked. An animal skull made of bronze appeared beside Sek as a beam made up of concentrated mana came out of its mouth and headed toward Licht. Because of being injured and exhausted from his previous battle with Yami, Licht was a bit late to react. The beam hit Licht's stomach, and that was the moment when Licht moved away with light speed. But the damage was done, and Sek was sure that even with healing magic Licht was not fast enough to heal that wound in time. The Gaster Blaster charged up once again as it turned toward the location where Licht appeared. And once again fired the concentrated mana blast at him. You know, I am quite grateful that you wrecked this cave earlier. Firing this attack in a closed space would have been quite dangerous after all, said Sek as he kept on firing toward Licht, who was now on the run, though he got hit by the attacks quite several times. The accumulated damage and fatigue were hindering his movements, and Sek was taking full advantage of that. So, want to discuss once again why it is a bad idea to underestimate the Dark Lord, said Sek with a smile as he saw the flashes of light around him. You are quite an evil man, said Yami as he looked at Sek. It was his fault for talking that much in the middle of a fight, said Sek. You are just pissed about the fact that he told you that you are not as dangerous as me, said Yami. Haha, I don't know what you are talking about, said Sek as he laughed. Still, it's an effective way to deal with him. Well, as long as that dumbass doesn't get far away enough to be able to do something with his speed, said Yami. And just as Yami said that, Licht's eyes widened as he looked up towards the sky. The ceiling of the cave was destroyed by him, and not taking another moment he rushed out of the cave and got quite far up in the sky. Yami, Asta, and Sek looked up where the elf was, and Sek said, you just had to word it out for him, hey. Didn't think that through. Also wasn't expecting that shiny bastard to be listening to our conversation, said Yami as he scratched the back of his head. Light, who was now quite far up in the sky, started healing as he looked at the black bulls with an angry look on his face. That's it, no more playing around. I will blast them all away with my strongest spell, said Licht. So how are we dealing with him now? He will be quite troublesome to deal with, now that he got into his favorable distance, that is, said Sek. Don't know, break some limits, said Yami as he puffed his cigarette. As you say, Captain Yami. I will break my limits and come up with a super duper cool move that will finish this, said Asta. Yeah, you do that, Asta, said Sek as he looked back at Licht. While the three of them were talking, Licht was dome healing up to a functional state and got ready to fire his attack. His grimoire started flipping as a huge amount of mana started gathering around him. The black bulls who were looking at the elf getting brighter and brighter were getting serious, as both Sek and Yami knew that the spell was quite bad news considering the amount of mana contained in the attack. Dark magic, black cocoon. Seeing the orb of dark magic surrounding them, Sek looked toward Yami and said, this isn't gonna work. Got any better ideas? You stay here, we run away. He will most likely hit you and we will be safe, said Sek. Ha! Not happening. If I die here, I'm making sure to bring you with me. Hey? Why do I have to die, just because you weren't able to break your limits when you were in need? Don't argue with me, just die when I die. Seeing the black bulls ignoring him once again, Licht started getting visibly angrier. Again and again and again. How is it possible that you two keep ignoring me when I am seconds away from killing you? Deleted Licht. Meh, that's a problem for the me 10 seconds from now to deal with, said Yami as he shrugged his shoulders. Sek shrugged his shoulders as well and said, I am the Dark Lord, I will come up with a way to get out of this situation and kick your ass sooner or later anyway. Hey, you have a way to get out of this situation? Asked Yami as he looked at Sek. Yeah, though I am not sure that it will work. What are the odds? 10% chance that we will survive. Yami puffed his cigarette and said, 10 hui, well better than 0. Seeing that they started another conversation, Licht gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. The three of you truly don't deserve to live in this world any longer. Light magic, divine judgment cannon. Calling out the name of his spell, a beam of concentrated light magic that was quite faster than the swords and witty enough for any of them to dodge, the three black bulls stared at it. Sek narrowed his eyes as his grimoire started flipping and mana started gathering around him. But before he could even use his spell, Ghosh appeared in front of them, with a huge mirror beside him. Mirror magic, full reflection. The light spell hit the mirror as it bounced back towards Licht, who widened his eyes as his spell came flying back at him. Well, that's one way of countering that. I wasn't expecting him to come back on time though, said Sek. Well, looks like I haven't fucked the plot that much, thought Sek as he sighed and deactivated his spell. He was a bit down since he wanted to test something out with that huge ass light spell, but just let it go as he could try that with luck some other time. Chapter 84, The Other Half. Seeing Licht get hit by that spell and fall, the Black Bulls sighed in relief and walked toward the now fallen leader of the Midnight Sun. He is still alive, hey? Muttered Sek as he looked at Licht. Probably resistance towards the same magic affinity, said Yami. Saying that, Yami's grimoire started flipping as he soon found the restraining spell that he was looking for. Dark restraining magic, Dark Bind. Restraining the two members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, the Black Bulls took a seat on a nearby rock. They waited for Finral's mana reserves to get up to a point so that he could open a portal, while Sek just waited cautiously. I can give him some mana, but knowing what is about to happen soon, I don't think that it is a good idea to take this fight in some crowded area, thought Sek. While Sek was lost in his thoughts, the duo of Yami and Ghosh made sure to rile Finral up. Asta just remained silent, making Sek look at him. Asta, anything wrong? Asked Sek as he thought that it was weird that the grey-haired shorty was this quiet. Sek, just what is it that I am lacking? In the last battle, I barely did any of the work. It was mostly you and Captain Yami who took care of the enemy. Hearing him, the rest of the Black Bulls turned silent and looked toward Asta. Sek stared at the grey-haired muscle twerp for a while before he smacked his head. Wah! What the hell was that for? That was for thinking this much shit. You think that you can surpass the likes of the Dark Lord or that captain of ours only after a year of getting your hands on your power, then you stop dreaming. I have trained my power and body for more than 10 years. Yumi-san and the others have even more experience under their belt. So if you are thinking that just because you trained your body from quite a young age and just a year of training with your anti-magic will make you stand at my or other strong mages level, then just give yourself a damn hard slap and wake up to reality. Train harder and learn new skills and then try again. You got that? Yelled Sek. Asta looked straight into Sek's eyes for a while before a determined expression appeared on his face. He then stood up, took a deep breath and without holding back slapped his cheek with full force. Ouch! That hurt like hell, said Asta as he winced a bit from the pain. I will train like hell and surpass all of you. And after that, I will become the Wizard King. Oh! And marry Sister Lily. Just wait and watch, Sek. Ha ha ha! Declared Asta as he started laughing. Hey, what the hell are you talking about? Like hell you can surpass me. Maybe you are still dreaming. Slap yourself once again. Said Sek. Like hell, a short dumb ass like you can surpass me. I knew that you had some screws loose, but I didn't know that you were such a gone cause, said Yami as he looked at Asta with pity. My screws are not loose. I will show you the results of my training and surpass you too. Yelled Asta as he pointed his finger at Yami and Sek. Meh, while you work hard or something, I will just surpass 1 or 2 of my limits and become super ultra crazy strong, said Yami as he just shrugged his shoulders. Well, I am the Dark Lord, I have no limits. I am already super ultra crazy strong. I am just not accustomed to controlling all that strength, said Sek as he shrugged as well. Seeing the two people whom he wanted to surpass just casually saying that they were stronger than him, made Asta pissed at them and started arguing. But as soon as their argument started, all of them felt the mana/ki around and turned towards the location where they felt the disturbance. Spatial magic, muttered Asta as all the black bulls turned towards Voltos, the zombie-faced dude. Nope, not that one, said Sek. Reinforcements probably, said Yami as he looked back toward the spatial magic portal. And soon 3 figures appeared out of the black portal. Yan, well, this definitely doesn't look good, said the guy with black hair as he started looking around. His eyes then fell on Licht and Voltos. Looks like Lichtkun and Valchan are in trouble. I'm usually pretty lazy, but I gotta save my friends. Saying that, the guy with black hair emitted a bright light and moved just like how Licht was doing in their previous fight. Already expecting that move, a bronze sword appeared in Sek's hand as he slashed down at the spot where he felt the ki of the guy. And just as Sek predicted, the guy appeared in front of Yami and immediately widened his eyes in shock as he saw the incoming sword. Not wasting a moment, the guy moved back with the same spell, but still was not able to dodge the attack completely. Yami-san, don't drop your guard in front of enemies, said Sek as he saw blood spill out of the guy's torso which he was able to hit. Ow! Man, you are annoying, said the guy as he winced from the pain and landed beside the other two. But this should be easy to fix, so whatever, said the black-haired dude. Light magic, healing light particles. And the same healing spell that was used by Licht appeared in the guy's hand as he started healing his wound. That magic, it's the same as round eyebrows, said Asta with a surprised expression on his face. Ignoring Asta, Licht started talking to his teammates. Sek noticed that and was about to interfere, but Yami moved his hand in front of him, stopping him from taking action. Is it alright to let them do that? Asked Sek. It's not, but unlike before, we are outnumbered by them, not to mention their ki and mana, you can feel that as well, right? Asked Yami as he continued to look towards the eye of the midnight sun. Sek nodded and then looked in the same direction as well as he noticed Licht floating in the air covered in flames. These flames, they are similar to that of a phoenix, said a deep voice as Sek's eyes widened in shock as he started looking around only to notice that no one was there, not to mention no one other than him seemed to have heard that voice. They can't hear me, it's only you that can hear me, at least for now. My other half. Hearing the voice once again, Sek narrowed his eyes and thought, only I can hear. And what is this other half? It is precisely what I say, there is no deeper meaning to it. I am part of your soul and reside within you in what you call sacred gear. I am the prison dragon king Vritra, said the voice who now identified himself as Vritra. Widening his eyes in surprise, Sek stopped focusing on the eye of the midnight sun and shifted it towards the important matter. Vritra, hey, I guess introductions are in order. I am Sek Bronzaza, the Dark Lord, thought Sek. I already know, although I got the ability to talk to my host quite recently, I have been conscious for a while. I keep a track of the world through your senses, and I would have to say, much like you, this world is also quite different from the world that I know of, said Vritra with a slightly colder tone. Chapter 85, vs the Third Eye. Different from the world that you know of, thought Sek. He knew that they were not in the DXD world from where the sacred gears originated, but he thought that his brother would have done something about that. Yes, although this world mainly circles around mana, which is both purer and concentrated than the world that I know of, there isn't any speck of demo lookout, said Vrita in Sek's head, making the Dark Lord snap out of his thoughts as he noticed the black-haired dude in front of him as he casually touched his grimoire holder, successfully touching his grimoires. Ho, 2 grimoires on a single man, aren't you quite the player? 2 timing is not good, you know, said the black-haired dude as Sek immediately tried to punch the guy, only for him to move away at light speed. Hey, no hitting faces, said the guy as he stood beside the other two. But soon his eyes widened as he looked at his hand and said, got nothing at all. He then looked back at Sek, who looked back at him. Let's talk later, Vritra thought Sek as he focused back on his enemies. You tried something with my grimoires, hey? Asked Sek, though he already knew what the guy tried to do. I don't know what you are talking about, said the black-haired guy. Trying to copy my magic? Well, bad news for you, I keep my grimoires in a transparent cover so that they don't get dirty, thought Sek as he internally smirked. So, are they done with their introductions? Asked Sek, making the black bulls look at him with confused looks on their faces. Oi, dumbass! Don't tell me you were spacing out in front of the enemy, asked Yami. Why else do you think I was not able to respond in time? Asked Sek back. Hey? And you dare tell me not to space out in front of the enemy? I saved your ass, so I got the right to do so. Hey, I would have taken care of him on my own. You just stole my thunder. Oi, are they seriously arguing at a time like this? Asked Finral with a horrified look on his face. Seeing the two black bulls arguing amongst themselves once again, the injured Licht frowned and said, to have the audacity to ignore not only me but also the third eye. These foolish creatures. Sek and Yami looked toward the eye of the midnight sun. You should be more serious, you know, the third eye surpasses me in combat, said Licht proudly. Well, considering how weak you were, they better be stronger than you if they are acting as your reinforcements, said Sek as he looked toward Licht, making the said light magic using elf angrier. Oi, Sek-kun! Don't make the situation worse, scolded Finral as he panicked a bit. And he must be bluffing, about them being stronger than him, said Finral. Yon, it's too much trouble to bluff. If you don't believe it, then I'll just show you. Even though it's a pain in the butt, Yon, said the black-haired dude with a katana covered in dark magic in his hand. That's the same as Captain Yami, said Asta. Your kingdom uses the clover leaf as its symbol, right? With each leaf representing faith, hope, and love. Well, the name of these three is the opposite of that. And as if on cue, the black-haired dude moved with the speed of light and appeared closer to the group. Copy magic, dark cloaked lightless slash. Ryu the disloyal. The dude named Ryu then swung his blade and the black bulls and fired the dark magic slash at them. TCH, don't go using other people's magic at them, groaned Yami as he fired a counter of his own. Dark magic, dark cloaked avidya slash. The two slashes intercepted, cancelling each other out but not even giving Yami a chance to think. The burly-looking dude approached him. Veto the despair, commented Licht. Beast magic, bear claw. Pay attention, yelled. Same goes for you, dude. Bronze creation magic, giant's fists. Hearing Sek's voice, Veto looked toward him only to notice a giant fist made of bronze heading toward him. Shit, thought Veto as there was no way to dodge that in mid-air. Crossing his hands to guard his body against the full force of the attack, Veto got sent flying as his body crashed against the wall. Well, seeing that the light show is giving introductions, let me introduce myself as well, said Sek as the giant fist hovered above him. Sek Bronzaza, the ass-kicker Dark Lord. Oi, dumbass! How dare you act cool in a situation like this, said Yami as he pointed his katana at Sek. Sek looked toward his squad captain and shrugged, I don't act cool. I am cool. I hate you. I'll never forgive you, said the pink-haired girl as a small creature similar to a dragon appeared on her shoulder. HOH, I am sensing some draconic aura from that thing, though it's mostly a spirit. A spirit dragon, said Vritra as he commented on feeling Salamander's presence. And last but not least, Fana the hateful. Spirit magic, Salamander's breath. The spirit started charging mana, feeling which Sek's grimoire started flipping as well. Careful there, even though small, that thing is still a dragon, said Vritra. And I am the Dark Lord, thought Sek back as his sacred gear appeared around his limbs. Sacred bronze magic gear, prison dragon's roar. A draconic helmet appeared around Sek's head as the cables from his sacred gear attached to his helmet. Fana, being the one who started first, fired a huge stream of fire toward Sek. And just a moment later a huge amount of mana gathered around Sek as the month of the helmet opened. A stream of similar-sized black flames shot forward. The two flames clashed and fought for supremacy, only for the dark flames to turn out superior and overwhelm the normal flames. "Never thought someone would be able to use my flame breath without any backlash," commented Vritra. "What can I say? I am built simply different," thought Sek as he stopped channeling mana, knowing that the spirit's flames were taken care of. "I will crush you like an ant!" suddenly yelled Veto as he appeared above Sek, who just looked up at the burly dude. Beast magic, bear claw. Detaching the absorption line from his helmet, Sek shot it toward Veto, who just swatted it with his magic-covered hands, only for the whip-like cables to wrap around his body. "Hey!" Using his full strength, Sek threw the giant man away as the line retracted back. "Phew, Oyami-san! Deal with some of them as well," said Sek as he looked towards Yami, only to see him fight against the copy magic dude. "Never mind, looks like I will be busy with you guys," said Sek as he looked towards Fana, Licht, and Veto. Veto looked back at Sek with a crazed smile on his face and said, "I will make you scream in despair." Saying that, Veto got back in action and started to run towards Sek. "Beast magic, cheetah charge." What the was all Sek could say before he noticed the guy running faster with magic surrounding his feet. Seeing the surprised look on Sek's face, Veto smirked, thinking that Sek was surprised because of his speed, but soon that smirk turned into confusion as he noticed the smile appear on Sek's face as well. "That form, that speed, you really know how to make a hunter excited for his hunts," said Sek as he remembered the days he used to regularly hunt in the forests. "All right, a hunt it is," said Sek as the two giant fists appeared over his body. Bronze creation magic, Giant's Fist. Ignoring Sek's words, Veto started focusing on the giant fists that attacked him earlier and noticed one of the fists heading toward him. "That won't work twice," said Veto as he started running haphazardly, trying to confuse Sek. Mosquito Slammer. And immediately the first that was above Veto opened its hand and smacked the ground below it, trying to squish Veto like a mosquito. Seeing the incoming hand, Veto dodged it and started rushing toward Sek once again as the blonde just smirked and gestured to the beastly man to come and get him. Veto grinned his teeth and focused on the other giant fist that was above Sek, only to notice it move up in the air. "Don't look away from me, or you will be the one who will be in despair." Hearing that, Veto got surprised and looked in front of him, only to notice Sek near him with his fist aimed at him. Bronze magic, bronze body. Beast magic, rhinoceros armor. And just as the name suggested, an orangish translucent rhino-like armor appears around Veto that protected him from the attack. The fist still connected, which sent Veto a few meters back, but Veto took the opportunity of Sek being out of stance and lunged at him. Beast magic, bear claw. Attacking the blonde magic knight in front of him, Veto smirked, seeing that Sek didn't even have the time to block the attack. Clank. But just as the sharp claw connected with Sek's body, a metallic clank was heard as close to no damage happened on Sek's body. "Try harder," said Sek as he too took the opportunity and punched Veto, who was the one out of form now. Planting his fist in his opponent's gut, Sek made the man move back a few meters as the man who got hit wiped the saliva that came out of his mouth. "Not as strong as I expected," said Veto as he smirked and lunged back toward Sek. Seeing that Sek got back into stance. "Damn, shouldn't have made that whole show about hunting, well, gotta deal with him in this way now, even though he has the advantage," thought Sek as he got a bit more serious about the fight. Beast magic, cheetah charge and bear claw. And just as Veto got close to Sek, he sped you with his magic, making Sek a bit surprised but still crossing his arms to block the incoming attack. Grinning after seeing Sek being the one who went to defense, Veto struck him and sent him flying in the air. "Damn, that packed some punch," thought Sek as he felt some pain from the recent attack despite using his bronze body. Talking about punch. Sek, who was now up in the air, gathered his mana as the two giant fists that he made earlier came towards him and caught his body. "This is going to be a bit of a challenge," said Sek as he felt a shift of ki in his surroundings and immediately punched to his right without even looking at who it was. Rhea, who appeared near Sek with a dark magic katana, was punched away even before he could do anything. Veto looked back towards Sek with a crazed smile and said, "But it will only end with you being in despair." And similarly punched Yami as Rhea was punched earlier. "Alright, things are going to get crazy. Yami-san and others, make sure to maintain some distance from me and that guy if you don't want to get hurt. As for you, my dear prey, just try to keep up," said Sek in a cold tone as both of his grimoires started flipping. "Now you will understand why you shouldn't entice the Dark Lord to hunt," said Sek, a malicious smirk spread across his face. Chapter 86, vs the Third Eye, 2. A huge amount of amna started gathering around Sek. "You revere that light show of your leader a lot, right? Then let me see how you deal with his way of fighting," said Sek. "Bronze creation magic, countless swords." Get to, who was looking at Sek with a challenging smirk, soon turned surprised as he saw the sheer number of swords present in the air. Just by guessing he could say that there were more than 100 swords up in the air. Sek smirked as he raised both of his hands as the swords that were in the air gathered around him. "Let's take them for a spin," said Sek as he started moving one of his hands in a circular motion. He started slowly, and just as if following him, the swords around him started revolving around him. Sek smiled and started to increase the speed of his hands and thereby increasing the speed at which the swords were revolting around him. "And now add the flavor," said Sek as his other grimoire started flipping as well. "Flame debuff magic, blaze touch." And a reddish aura appeared around the swords, making a revolving circle of glowing swords around Sek. "I wanted to add more debuffs, but on this many numbers of swords it might be a hassle," thought Sek as he looked towards Veto and smirked. "They might not be at light speed, but they won't stop once they start coming at you," said Sek as he looked towards Veto. Veto looked at Sek for a while and then said, "So, is that it? Overwhelm me with numbers. Can you even hit me with all those swords? I don't think that you have enough of them." Sek stared at Veto for a bit before he sighed. "Ha, you think too highly of yourself, mongrel," said Sek like a certain golden-haired red-eyed king as the giant palm he was standing on moved to make the giant circle of glowing swords surround him. Veto turned serious as the swords that were moving around Sek at great speed started to lower down a bit. "I am way," said Veto, but immediately stopped as he instinctively felt the attacks aimed at him. Immediately jumping back, Veto dodged the first sword that appeared at the place he was standing before. He looked at the sword which was now stuck in the ground with caution, but he did not have much time to think as the swords, just like Sek promised, started to rain down at the man. "Beast magic, cheetah charge." Veto, who now had cheetah glowing legs, increased his speed as he started dodging the swords that were not stopping to come towards him. Sek, who saw the desperate man run around, had a small smile on his face as his grimoire started flipping pages. "Combination magic, Dark Lord's chilling barrier." And a circular barrier appeared around him, giving out a chilling sensation as he got engulfed in a stream of fire. "Spirit magic, Salamander's breath." The stream of fire soon died down as Sek, who was surrounded by his barrier, appeared without a scratch on his body. "I won't forgive you," said Fana without a change of expression. "Okay," said Sek as he just ignored the girl and focused back on Veto. "Aren't you going to do something about that spirit dragon user?" asked Vritra. "One prey at a time, during a hunt, never divert your focus on different prey," replied Sek. He then focused back on Veto, who was running around with a few slash wounds around his body. Sek could also notice some burn wounds and just smirked. "Ha! Is that the best you can do? You must be running out of mana pretty soon as well. Just wait, once you are out of it I will show you what true despair is." "Well, I have a considerable amount of mana, but if you are that worried about me," said Sek as he looked towards Fana, who was looking straight at him. His sacred gear appeared around him as he pointed one of his gauntlets toward Fana and fired the absorption line at the pink-haired girl. Fana raised her hand to block the incoming attack, but the whip-like thing just wrapped around her hand. Absorb, said Sek, making Fana's eyes widen as she felt her mana being sucked forcefully out of her body. Fana tried to free her hand but was not able to even budge the whip. Fana soon fell to the ground as Sek sucked quite a bit of mana out of her in a short time, making the girl a bit exhausted. Phew, I am full. Thanks for the meal, Fana-chan, said Sek as he simply retracted the absorption line and started back at Veto. Now where were we? Yes, you asked if that was the best that I could do, right? Asked Sek with a smile on his face. Veto, who was busy dodging the swords, could not see Sek's expression, but if he could have seen his smile he could surely say that the smile was not of amusement, but that of malice. All the swords that were around Sek stopped firing all at once. Seeing the swords stop for a moment, Veto got surprised but still took a deep breath, feeling a bit relieved. What happened? Dun Alria, said Veto, but as soon as he lifted his gaze his eyes widened in shock as he saw the swords that were revolving around Sek earlier, now revolving around him. Now, don't get that surprised, this is just the beginning, said Sek as a pair of hands made of bronze suddenly came out of the ground and held Veto in position. What they? But before he could even register what happened, all the swords around him started firing at him. Beast magic, rhinoceros armor. Making an armor of magic around him to block off the swords, Veto looked at the swords with caution. These swords are not normal, not only cutting, they are burning me as well, thought Veto as he focused on maintaining the armor as he could see that the swords were starting to crack it. I just need to hold on for a bit longer, thought Veto as he could see that the number of swords around him have gone down quite a bit. Bronze creation magic, countless swords. Flame debuff magic, blaze touch. Hearing Sek's voice, Veto's eyes widened in shock as he noticed a new batch of swords revolving around Sek. Soon the swords merged with the old batch, refilling the circle. Don't worry, Veto, you can play to your heart's content. In fact, let me get you more toys. Sek's grimoire started flipping as another pair of giant hands appeared in the air. Sek raised his fist in the air, making the fists go up as well, making Veto widen his eyes in horror as he realized what was going to happen. You really like to make your opponents miserable, said Vritra. Hey, it's not my fault that they mock me despite being weak, thought Sek as he slammed his fist down, making the giant fist go down at full speed toward Veto. Shit, was all that Veto could think before the giant bronze fist rained down on him, breaking down the already chipped off armor and smashing him into the ground. Sek lifted the giant fist of Veto and felt his ki. Feeling that Veto was finally out of commission, Sek moved back on the ground. Not going to kill him? Asked Vritra. I would like to do that as well. But handing him onto the kingdom will give me more merit and chances of promotion, thought Sek as his grimoire started flipping. Bronze restraining magic, bronze shackles. Restraining the huge man in front of him, Sek relaxed a bit. But soon he felt three people approaching the cave with a considerable amount of mana and focused towards the entrance and saw Nozel, captain of the Silver Eagles, Charlotte, captain of the Blue Rose, and Jack, captain of the Green Mantis. Well, seeing that they are here, let's take this guy to them, thought Sek as he looked toward the unconscious Veto. My, ain't this troublesome for us? We are seriously outnumbered now, said Rhea, who appeared from a portal beside Sek and kicked him, making Sek block the kick and move back only to appear at a different location as he fell into another portal. Did that guy just steal my prey? Muttered Sek as he looked toward Rhea and saw him carrying an unconscious Veto toward Licht and Fana, who was recovered from the mana drain. Sigh, they never let me use the peaceful way now, do they? Muttered Sek. What are you going to do now? They are pretty much going to retreat now, asked Vritra. Give them a parting gift? Thought Sek as he finally took out Extace from his sheath. Extace-chan, full power, said Sek, and the sword started glowing as if responding to Sek. He raised the sword in the air as mana started gathering up in the sword, making all the people, even the captain who just arrived, look towards Sek. X! Yelled Sek as strong gusts of wind moved around him, pushing the dust and debris away from him. You are the second person to get away with stealing my prey. So rejoice, said Sek as he knew that getting Veto back in this situation for not possible. So he too is a being who is loved by mana, muttered Licht as he saw the mana gathering around Sek. Caliber! Shouted Sek. He swung his sword, firing a strong concentrated beam / of mana toward the eye of the midnight sun. Seeing the bright light from the attack, all the people closed their eyes shut as Sek just continued to look at his target, who immediately started to move away through the portal. TCH. That wasn't even my best shot. If only I could have gathered more mana, thought Sek as he noticed the beam of light die down, revealing the eye of the midnight sun had already gone away. Although I don't think that they got away scot-free. That attack must have passed through their portal as well, said Vritra. It better be, I am pissed at them after all, thought Sek as he sheathed his sword back. Chapter 87, Talk with Vritra. Giving an annoyed sigh, Sek walked back toward the rest of the magic knights. Seeing that all eyes were now on him, Sek looked back at Yami, who just looked back at him. So, they got away, hey? Asked Sek. Kakik, can't even catch one of them? Looks like you are getting rusty, Yami, said Jack as he looked at Yami with a mocking expression on his face. Hey? If it wasn't for you all storming in here and alerting them, we would have caught them. How are you going to pay me for that? Asked Yami. Excuse me, last time I check it was me who defeated my opponent, not you, said Sek as he raised his hand. Yami looked at Sek for a while before he clutched his head in his hand and said, and that was possible because of my excellent guidance. GH. Don't crush my head, you brute. Complained Sek as he tried to free his head off Yami's grasp. The other captains then started talking to Yami, who finally let go of Sek's head. Sek himself sat somewhere away from the group, but not that far away. So, should we talk now? Asked Vritra. Ask away. Continuing from where we left off, I noticed that this world doesn't have any energy other than mana. Demonic energy, divine power, holy energy. Are any of the terms familiar to you? Asked Vritra. Never heard of them. Only used mana and learned ki today. Mana is all that this world has, or so I know of. What about the beings that live in this world? Only humans, or are there other species like devils, angels, yokai, dragons, and gods? Asked Vritra, with the last two being a bit hesitant. As far as I know, only humans live in this world. Devils, angels, yokai, never heard of them. Though there are dragons around the strong mana regions, they are scarce. About gods, we do have churches in this kingdom, I don't know if there is a god or not, replied Sek. Seeing that he isn't questioning about my reincarnation and all, I suppose he isn't able to look into my mind, or at least not able to access those memories. Meaning no need to inform the dragon about this, and his world is that of fiction, thought Sek to himself. By the way, considering that you are talking in my thoughts, are you able to look through my memories and hear all my thoughts? Asked Sek, just to make sure if his theory was correct or not. And if the dragon was able to do that, he would not make effort to hide things from him, since it would just be a pain to do that. Well, I can do that, but only when both of us have consent for that. Since if I can look through your thoughts, you would be able to go through mine as well. Replied the dragon. Is that so? Then you won't mind if I keep my thoughts to myself? I would like some sort of privacy, even though we are going to be fighting together from now on, asked Sek. I have no problem with that. You are my other half, and I respect your decision of keeping your thoughts to yours. Thanks for understanding. Any other questions? Asked Sek. There are many, but I will ask them as I experience the world for myself. This world, as far as I can think of, is different from the one where I am from, said Vritra. Feeling depressed? Asked Sek. Slightly, since I don't think that there won't be many challenges to face in this world, considering there aren't many dragons and no gods at all to face. Though I am more excited to see this world as well. I don't think many get the chance to experience a world different from the one that they belong to. Replied Vritra. Sek remained silent as he just let Vritra to his thoughts. although he felt that he too had the same thought when he first came to this world. Enjoying a world different from the one he belonged to. Sek soon smiled and thought, "Don't worry, I will show you the best of this world. We will explore the edges of this world, although, I will prioritize being the best in this world." Hearing him, Vritra laughed out loud in his head, making Sek groan a bit. "Sorry about that, my other half. But still, I am counting on you to show me this world. As for being the best in the world, you can count on me to achieve that goal. A dragon without the aim to achieve the best is no dragon after all," replied Vritra with a slightly excited tone. "Yet, I will show the world that the one who stands at the peak is the far Lord Sek Bronzaza," thought Sek. "I have been thinking about this for a while, but what is this Dark Lord?" asked Vritra. "It is the title that represents me, and in the future will represent the one true strongest being of this world," replied Sek. "So, it is a title you earned?" asked Vritra. "No, I have it to myself." "So how do you know that it will represent the strongest person in the world?" "I will become the strongest person in the world sooner or later and will make it customary for this title to be passed down for generations. Though I will be the first Dark Lord of the world." "And why Dark Lord specifically? For a title that is to be passed around, doesn't it sound quite villainous?" asked Vritra. "It's cool," replied Sek. "So it's that phase of a boy's life, hey?" "Well, not like it's a bother," said Vritra with a sigh. "Hey, your title is Prison Dragon King. Sounds quite villainous to me. Unlike you who gave the title to yourself. My title was earned by the battle that I fought. The dragons and gods that fell against me after the legendary battles, gave me my title. I just took this title to show my respect to those valiant warriors that fought against me," said Vritra. Sek blinked his eyes for a while before his eyes started shining, making Vritra a bit surprised by the sudden change. "That was cool. Almost as cool as me," thought Sek. "I'm excitement." Thanks I guess," said Vritra a bit speechless from his host's sudden change. "You are welcome, but let's talk later," thought Sek. "Yami-san. How much longer are we going to stay here? And if you are going to take more time, can I go back?" asked Sek. "Hey, like hell I will let you go back before I am free of this shit." "You are staying here till I am done," replied Yami. "I am going," said Sek. "Try it, you bastard," said Yami as the two of them continued to stare at each other. "Cough, you foreigner, just let your squad go back. We will talk just between the captains," said Nozel as he looked at Asta and the other black bulls. Yami clicked his tongue as Sek just smirked and walked towards Finral and the others. Sek, Asta, Finral, and Ghosh then said their goodbyes to Yami, who was just pissed at his squad members who were allowed to go back while he was stuck with the idiots. "Yami-san, do your job properly, all right? See you later. Enjoy," said Sek with a smile. "I will kill you once I come back," said Yami as he fired a dark magic slash at Sek, who just dodged and jumped into the portal. Chapter 88, Talk with Vritra, 2. Appearing in what seemed like a medical ward, Sek looked around in confusion. He spotted quite a lot of healing mages and a grandma lying on the bed being healed by the said healing mage. "Where are we?" asked Sek as he looked towards Finral. "We are in Nairn," replied Finral. "Any specific reason for us to be here?" asked Sek. "Well, the kids that we rescued earlier are all from this town. I don't think that leaving them here before the mission is officially declared over will be a good thing," replied Finral with a nervous laugh. "Good thinking," said Sek in an appreciative tone, feeling that the spatial mage from his squad actually had some experience. Thinking this far after the battle was just over was not something Sek or the other newbies would have been able to come up with after all. Sek looked at the healing mages and then looked towards his own body. They are not that serious wounds anyway. The granny needs treatment more than me, thought Sek. Despite being quite a durable fighter, it wasn't like Sek didn't have any injuries. The light swords caused quite a few scratches all over his body, not to mention the few blows from Veto did pack quite a bit of strength behind them, so he felt a bit painful from them. "Where is Noel?" asked Sek as he looked around for the royal tsundere. Seeing that he didn't get any response, he just sighed and walked out of the room. Need to find a water source, thought Sek as he walked out of the medical ward. I have been meaning to ask this for a while, but why are the mages of this world only using a single attribute? And why do all of you all carry grimoires around? Won't it be better if you just remembered the spells from the grimoires? Asked Vritra. Well, we are all born with a single attribute of magic that we can use. It's determined from the day that we are born. Looks like that is not the case in your world. As for grimoires, it's not like we learn magic from them. We all receive grimoires of the attribute that we can use at the age of 15, although being the great Dark Lord that I am, I received 2 grimoires on the day of the ceremony. Anyway, the grimoires have the basic spells of our attribute that we have either learned or can use at that level. As we get stronger or get creative with our mana, the grimoires pages started filling up. It also allows us to use stronger spells, replied Sek. I see, quite an unusual setting, but can't you just collect more grimoires from others and use them? Asked Vritra. No, a grimoire can only be opened and used by its wielders, replied Sek. These grimoires are somewhat similar to sacred gears. Not usable by others, and grows along with the user, said Vritra. Never thought about it like that. Well, you could say that they are somewhat similar. Sek, who was talking with Vritra, soon spotted an empty bench and just sat there. He took off his robe and his upper clothes and revealed his body, which had some bruises where Veto had hit him earlier. Well, water would have worked better since I could have cleaned my body, but that can wait for later, muttered Sek. Forming a piece of bronze in his hand, Sek placed his other hand on top of the piece of bronze, and a chilling air came out of his other hand, turning the piece of bronze cold instantly. Placing the cold object over his bruise, Sek felt the bruises sting a bit, but he just laid down on the bench. Didn't you just say that the element that a person can use is defined from their birth? And as far as I remember, I saw you use fire, ice, and metal magic earlier. So what's the deal with you? Asked Vritra. I am just amazing, replied Sek. Seriously? Yeah, seriously. I am quite amazing, you know. You see, I was born with 2 types of magic, which in itself is quite amazing. But aside from my bronze magic, the metal magic that you mentioned earlier, I can also use another type of magic. I call it debuff magic, though sometimes even I am not sure if that grimoire is about debuff magic. This debuff magic of mine is a bit special, like how that copy mage from earlier was able to use different types of magic. Yeah, that guy was able to use the same magic that the man you refer to as Captain used as well, and the light magic from the guy before, not to mention space magic, said Vritra. Yeah, as the name says, he can copy other people's magic. I presume that he does so by touching other people's grimoires. That guy touched both Yumi-san's and my grimoire before battling us. Though unlucky for him, I use a transparent cover to keep my grimoires dust free. Could be a possibility. So what's the deal with your magic? Well, unlike that guy, I cannot exactly copy other people's magic. I can use some sort of derivative magic. His trigger was touching the grimoires. My trigger is seeing those magic in action once, to learn their respective magic, said Sek. That is indeed an amazing thing, especially in a world like this. Wait, you mean to say that you learned magic each for all the magic that you saw there at the cave? Flipping his grimoire open, Sek checked and said, I learned 3 spells there, for light magic, cure, for copy magic, copy debuff magic, limiter, and beast magic, beast debuff magic, berserk. I already have fire magic, so that's that. Interesting, said Vritra. Right, and as you can see, for light magic it's not debuff magic, that's why I say that sometimes I am not sure whether it is a debuff magic grimoire. Though I mostly get debuff magic, thought Sek as he just closed his eyes and continued to apply the cold bronze over the bruises. Haven't you got any healing spells? Nope, Sek simply thought as he waited for the mission to be officially over. But all of a sudden Sek was brought out of his thoughts when he heard a familiar voice. Sek. What happened to you? Are you all right? Hearing the voice, Sek opened his eyes and looked toward the source of the voice and saw a grey-haired bespectacled man running towards him. Sliding and stopping in front of him, the man took deep breaths trying to calm himself down. Klaus? You okay? Asked Sek as he looked at the Golden Dawn mage. I am all right. But what about you? I heard that you fought against the Eye of the Midnight Sun's leader. Are you all right? Asked Klaus in a worried tone. Deciding to sit up instead of lying down, Sek looked at the man and said, I am fine, just some scratches and bruises. Hearing his words, Kaluz frowned, which only deepened as he noticed the scratches and bruises all over his body. Sek sighed seeing Klaus's frown and said, Who told you about my fight though? Klaus adjusted his spectacles, which shimmered and reflected the light falling on them, and said, You know, Mimosa, and I got the message about the sudden attack and came here as soon as possible. But apparently, we were late. We then came to this town on being ordered by the captains there. We then met Asta and the others who told us about your fight. Yuno and Mimosa are there. Mimosa is treating Asta. I came to find you as soon as it was possible to check if you were all right or not. Well, I am fine, so there is no need to worry, replied Sek, and immediately got scolded by Klaus, saying how can he say that he was okay, and immediately put him in his steel chariot and took him to the place where Mimosa and the others were to get Sek healed. Your friend really is worried about you, said Vritra. Well, not that it is necessary, though it is a good feeling, replied Sek. Yet, keep this feeling in mind, it helps humans get stronger. Nat, the things that makes a person strong are grind, talent, and will to rise to the top, said Sek. Well, can't argue with that, said Vritra with an amused tone. Mimosa. Heal Sek immediately, yelled Kaluz as he dragged Sek back into the healing ward, gathering everyone's attention. Mimosa looked toward Klaus and Sek and immediately widened her eyes in shock and rushed toward them. Klaus was about to say something, but Mimosa just pushed him away and started panicking seeing Sek. Sek-san. Where does it hurt? Wait, it must be at those bruises, right? Or is it those scratches and cuts? Asked Mimosa. Seeing the panicked ginger head, Royal Sek sighed and placed his hand on her shoulder. Calm down, Mimosa. I am not that bothered by these. So don't worry that much. Anyway, how have you been? Of course, I would worry. It pains me to see you hurt. Hurry up and lie down, please. I will heal you, said Mimosa in an unexpectedly pushy tone as she made Sek lie down on the bed and started healing him. But why would she worry this much? They are not that deep anyway, thought Sek. Keeping the fact that you have some internal bleeding and a cracked rib, for stating all those things about you being awesome and all, you are not quite aware of your surroundings, said Vritra. What does that mean? Asked Sek. My other half, it's not my place to say. You will have to realize this on your own. Not to mention this seems amusing, said Vritra, confusing the Dark Lord, who just ignored the dragon and focused on Mimosa, who was asking about his well-being and if he felt pain somewhere specifically. Chapter 89, He is going to make me faint once again. After Mimosa was dome healing Sek, she sighed in relief and then looked at Sek, who was talking to Asta, Yuno, and the others for making excuses for not telling them that he was that injured. She just smiled seeing Sek a bit troubled by the others' worries. I don't remember all of it, but I still know that he was kind back then as well. Helping others without even being asked to, thought Mimosa. But soon her gaze fell on Sek's body, which wasn't covered by his clothes, and it was now that she realized that Sek was lying bare-chested in front of her the entire time. Her face started turning red and her vision started going hazy. Ah! Mimosa! Called Noelle as she saw her fellow royal stumbling a bit. Hearing Noelle, Sek turned towards the ginger head and saw her falling toward him. He opened his arms and caught the ginger head and looked at her with worry in his eyes. She hasn't lost too much mana. What happened to her all of a sudden? You all right, Mimosa? asked Sek. Hey? Sek-san? Asked Mimosa in surprise as she saw Sek's face directly in front of her. She then noticed herself being held in his arms. Q was all that came out of Mimosa's mouth as her head fell on Sek's chest and she fainted. Looking at Mimsa for a while, Sek looked toward the others asking what happened. He noticed that most of them were as confused as him, but both Noel and Finral were giving him a stink eye. You idiot! Said Noel as she slapped Sek's shoulder, who was unable to defend himself as he was holding Mimosa in his hands. What? Asked Sek, genuinely confused by the sudden situation. But soon he realized something and looked towards Asta and thought, some way or other this shorty chick magnet embarrassed her more than she can handle and she fainted. He sighed as he just scooted over a bit and laid Mimosa on the bed before getting off it. He then covered her with a sheet and asked, "Is there somewhere where I can get something to eat?" Surprised by his unbotheredness about the sudden situation, Noelle was a bit pissed at her fellow blonde rookie. But suddenly, both his and Asta's stomachs growled so loudly that it could be considered a bestial roar. "We have been fighting for the whole night. So no doubt we will be hungry," said Sek, making the others understand where he was coming from, but Noelle still felt a bit pissed at him. "Oh! We can go to Rebecca's place. She makes great food," said Asta with an excited tone, making Noelle's attention immediately shift from Sek to Asta as he praised some other girl. "Why the hell am I the only one who is left behind? Wasn't I the hungry one?" muttered Sek as he took a bit from a loaf of bread. He sighed and looked toward Mimosa, who was sleeping peacefully. "If you are asking, then, that shirt brat named Asta suggested for everyone to go and eat at some place. The others left while you were changing your clothes, leaving you behind with this unconscious girl. You felt it was wrong leaving the girl and just stood back," said Vritra. "No need to remind me, I know what happened." "Who knew that the self-proclaimed Dark Lord is such a big softy?" said Vritra. "Well, she healed me when I was injured, so leaving her behind alone was not something someone as great as me could do," replied Sek as he just sat back on the chair and ate the bread that he had kept in his storage. "Next time I will make sure to keep some of Charmy's dishes in my safe," thought Sek as he continued eating the bread. "Better do that, after all, we need to go on a journey soon," said Vritra. "Why and where?" asked Sek in a confused tone. "To improve your use of my sacred gear and incorporate your grimoire magic with my sacred gear too. And if possible, the balance breaker," said Vritra, making the Dark Lord turn serious as well. "True, I can surely use a training montage," thought Sek as he finished eating his bread and started making plans for his journey. Hearing the groan beside him, Sek looked at the ginger head royal, who somehow had hair on her face. Sighing and then chuckling at the girl's action, Sek moved the hair from her face and said, "Well, ain't you a cute creature? Well, I never got to know whom Asta ended with at the end. Was it Noelle, Mimosa, or the most unexpected Sister Lily? Or did the creator go out of his way and did a harem ending?" thought Sek to himself, not noticing the girl's ears, which were bright red from embarrassment. "Oh wah! I can't wake up now. How can Sek-san say such embarrassing things?" complained Mimosa, who woke up when Sek was fixing her hair. But she snapped out of her thoughts when all of a sudden a sound came out of nowhere. "Growl! Looks like the bread wasn't enough," said Vritra. Sek sighed and said, "Can't leave her here," and looked towards Mimosa, who was still pretending to be asleep. Hearing his words, Mimosa, who was pretending to be asleep, felt bad for making Sek stay behind with her. Deciding to stop her act, she slowly opened her eyes and then turned towards Sek. "Sek-san?" asked Mimosa in a confused tone. She felt so glad that she was good at faking her expressions. Those noble gatherings were not such a waste. "Oh, Mimosa? Are you fine? You fainted all of a sudden after healing me?" asked Sek with a small smile, feeling glad that he could finally go out and eat. Unaware of his thoughts, Mimosa just sat up and said, "Yeah, I am fine. Sorry for causing you trouble. Where are the others?" "They all went out to eat. Or at least that was where they were heading to," replied Sek. And you stayed behind? Asked Mimosa, tilting her head a bit. If that growl was any sort of indication, then even the boy in front of her was hungry as well. Well, I felt like leaving you behind all alone was not a good idea. So I stayed behind, said Sek as he looked at the ginger head. Mimosa turned silent and just blinked her eyes in surprise before she looked away to hide her embarrassment. She held her hand over her chest and felt her heart pounding faster. What should I do? He is going to make me faint once again, thought Mimosa as she felt both happy and angry at Sek. Chapter 90, I am going to feel like an idiot. After Mimosa calmed down, Sek looked at her and asked, if you are fine now, can we go out to grab something to eat? Ah. Yes, let's go, said Mimosa as she got up from the bed and fixed her hair and clothes. The two of them got out of the medical ward but soon faced a problem. They didn't know where Asta and the others went, and because of the recent incident, no shops were opened. We are going to the neighboring town, said Sek as his grimoire started flipping. Bronze creation magic, bronze rider. He got on the motorbike and then looked toward Mimosa and said, come on, let's go. Mimosa looked at Sek's bike and then asked, you behind you? Well, if you want to be the one in control I don't mind, said Sek as he gestured for her to get in front of him. And no, I am fine with sitting behind you. But what about the others? I don't know where they are and I am not gonna search the whole town just to find those guys. So, it will be just the two of us? Asked Mimosa as she twirled her hair with her finger. Well, that's what I was thinking, but if you want to go and meet with the others, I will help you with that, said Sek as he sighed, thinking that he had to find the others with empty stomachs. And no. I am fine with this. It will probably be sooner to get to the neighboring town than to find the others, said Mimosa as she sat behind Sek. Looking at the ginger head who sat behind him with a determined look on her face, Sek smiled and said, all right. Let's go, declared Sek as he channeled mana through the bike, making the bike roar out loud. The bike rushed forward immediately, making Mimosa yelp in surprise as she grabbed Sek tightly to not fall off the bike. Sek-san, slow down a bit. It's my first time riding something like this, said Mimosa. Hearing such misleading words as two soft mounds pressed against his back, Sek's body flinched a bit but was ignored by Mimosa with the shaking of the bike. The Dark Lord doesn't get swayed this easily, especially by girls who like someone else, thought Sek as he just steeled his resolve. The thought of just seeing him taking advantage of someone who likes someone else made Sek feel bad about himself. I am not like that bitch Lisa, thought Sek as he turned serious all of a sudden. You alright, my other half? Asked Vritra with concern as he felt the sudden change in his host's mood. The mana that was inside Sek was always shining and excited, but it suddenly turned violent, making Vritra question whether his host was alright or not. Yeah, I am fine, Vritra replied Sek, though Vritra was not a least bit concerned as the mana was still violent. I know we just came to know each other, but just remember this, my other half, the two of us stuck together till the end of your life. We are going to be together for the rest of our life, from something as trivial as having lunch to facing the whole world as an opponent. I am going to be by your side. So if there are times when you want to open up, don't hesitate. I am just a thought away, said Vritra. This violent mana is not good for him. If exposed for a long time, it can corrupt him. Ha! It's always the case with mana-sensitive beings, thought Vritra as he tried to calm down the violent mana. Feeling his rage subside a bit, Sek sighed deeply as he emptied his mind of the thoughts of the girl from his previous life. Seeing the violent mana subsiding, Vritra sighed and looked at the world around him through Sek's mindscape. Mimosa, who held Sek's waist, just rested her head on his back with a small smile on her face, ignorant of the boy's inner turmoil. I can see the town, we will be there soon, said Sek as Mimosa just hummed in response, enjoying herself. Soon the two of them entered the town as they got off the bike, much to Mimosa's disappointment. She wanted to just rest a bit longer. Wah! What am I even thinking? Mentally scolding herself, Mimosa snapped out of her thoughts and looked around her. This place is really crowded. Well, the merchants just started setting up their shops, so they are busy with that. Meaning we will get mostly fresh items to eat. What about you, Mimosa? Is anything catching your eye? Asked Sek with a small smile on his face. It has been a while since he visited a marketplace like this. Mimosa looked around with a confused but excited expression on her face. She never visited marketplaces like these before, so it was a new experience for her. Seeing that, Sek chuckled but still stopped by a stall as he noticed a man was cooking something that looked good. Tapping Mimosa's shoulder, making the royal look at him with a confused look, Sek gestured for her to follow him as they moved towards the stall. Taking a closer look at the man's stall, Sek noticed that he was selling some kind of meat-filled wrap. Buying one for himself and one for Mimosa as she looked at the wrap with an intriguing gaze, he offered it to the ginger head. "Here you go," said Sek as he handed it to her and paid the stall owner. "You don't need to buy this for me," said Mimosa with a worried look on her face. "Don't worry, just consider it my treat for accompanying me here," said Sek as he started walking. Wait. Following Sek, Mimosa soon started walking beside him as Sek just ate the wrap and felt pure bliss spreading inside his mouth. Hunger is the best seasoning after all, thought Sek as he looked at the ginger head beside him and said, "Better eat it before it gets cold." But I already paid for this, Mimosa, so if you don't eat it will go to waste, so better use that mouth to eat, said Sek as he just smirked, making the ginger head unable to argue any further. She soon pouted and said, "You are a very mean man, Sek-san." Yes. Now eat it," said Sek as he took another bite, encouraging the royal to do so as well. She looked at Sek for a while, but soon gave up and took a bit herself and soon widened her eyes. "Wis Delvius," said Mimosa with food still in her mouth. "Yup, that's the expression of a rookie," said Sek as he just chuckled seeing the royal's expression. Mimosa blushed realizing what she just did but soon glared at Sek who was laughing at her. "Don't make fun of me," complained Mimosa as she begrudgingly ate the wrap, much to Sek's amusement. The two of them then walked around the marketplace as the vendors called out to the two of them. Magic Knights were mostly loaded, after all, not to mention with one of them was from the Golden Dawn. This also kept the troublemakers stay away from the two of them. Although some brave ones tried to hit on Mimosa, but either a polite rejection or a strong glare from Sek kept them away. Sek bought a few more items for them to eat, much to Mimosa's annoyance as he paid for all the things. But still, she enjoyed as Sek showed her around the marketplace. "Is this what people call a date?" thought Mimosa as she felt a bit embarrassed realizing that she was on a date. She then glanced at Sek and then looked down with an embarrassed look on her face. "Look out," said Sek softly as he held her shoulders and moved her out of an incoming cart's path. Feeling Sek's hand on her shoulders, Mimosa flinched a bit and then looked at Sek with embarrassment. "Thank you," said Mimosa. "No problem," said Sek as he just continued leading the girl around the marketplace. They soon took a seat under the shade of a tree. "Here," said Sek as he passed a cup of juice to Mimosa and took a seat beside her. Mimosa took a sip from the cup and then looked toward Sek. She stared at him for a while before resolving herself and scooted a bit closer to him, at a distance where their shoulders touched each other. Glancing at the girl beside him who just looked down with an embarrassed look on her face. She stole a few glances at Sek, making Sek stare back at her for a while before he got stiff as if he realized something. "So, he wasn't as dumb as I thought he was," thought Vritra as he looked at the situation his host was in. The two continued to steal glances for a while, which made even the great Dark Lord a bit embarrassed. What the hell is happening? Wasn't she in love with Asta? Thought Sek as he tried to remember some instances to clear his doubts, but soon started realizing that there were such developments between her and Asta, at least not in front of him. On the other hand, if even half the things that I am remembering are correct, then I am going to feel like an idiot, thought Sek. Chapter 91, Let's get ready to grind. "So, how does it feel knowing that you are an idiot?" asked Vritra. Not now, Vritra replied Sek in annoyance as he started back at Mimosa, who drinking her juice with an embarrassed expression on her face. There is no misunderstanding here, thought Sek as he stared at the blushing royal. Me Mimosa? Asked Sek, making the royal yelp in surprise. Why yes. Asked Mimosa as she started at Sek. The two stared at each other, not being able to say anything for a while, embarrassed to talk about the matter at hand. Ugh, this is really nerve-wracking, thought Sek as he took a deep breath. Said both of them at the same time. You can go first, Sek-san, said Mimosa as she offered Sek to speak first. No, you go first, Mimosa, I am not sure what I might say right now, said Sek. Seeing that the boy she considered reliable and strong was being embarrassed about something that she might have a clue about made Mimosa feel a bit happy. Taking a deep breath, Mimosa looked at Sek and then calmed herself down. Sek-san, thank you for taking me out on a date, but please let me sort out my feelings. Right now, I am not sure about what I feel towards you, so please let's discuss it some other time. Sek looked at Mimosa for a while and blinked in surprise. Ah! He is shocked by my words. But please, Sek-san. Give me some time, I cannot handle myself right now, thought Mimosa. Sek on the other hand just mentally did guts pose and yelled, hell yeah, I didn't make a fool of myself. I was right. I am not dense. Mentally cheering for himself, the Dark Lord looked at Mimosa and soon sighed. All right, I understand, said Sek. Hell yeah, I do. I am not dense, thought Sek without any change in his expression. Mimosa sighed, seeing Sek being calm, and said, I am sorry, and thank you for understanding, Sek-san. Nodding his head, the two took some distance and sat comfortably as the two of them talked for a bit longer and then decided to go back to the town where they came from. After reaching the town, they were asked where were they, as the others were worried about them, but Sek just scolded the rest of them for leaving the unconscious Mimosa behind, as he knew that Mimosa was way too kind to do so herself. Feeling ashamed for leaving behind Mimosa when she was unconscious and letting the tired Sek stay behind, the group apologized to the two of them. The Gold Dawn members soon left after that, and after that, the captains came back to the town declaring the mission officially over. The Black Bulls then said their goodbye to the town folk and got back to their HQ. Finally, some proper rest, said Sek as he came to lay down on his bed. After taking a bath to wash off the dirt, blood, and sweat off his body, Sek felt refreshed, but soon fatigue came over his body. Rest up, my other half. Breaks are as important to recover the bodies. Human bodies are quite fragile after all, said Vritra. Yet. I know that you are a great dragon, thought Sek as he yawned. But soon Sek felt a weight on his chest as he looked towards the object that landed there and saw Sikray sitting on his chest with her usual expression on her face, though Sek somehow felt that Sikray was glaring and interrogating him. Why is there a woman's scent all over your clothes, thought Sikray as she glared at her partner. Ignoring that feeling, Sek just caressed the bird as the bird made some satisfying sound, making Sek feel happy as well. He didn't know why, but seeing Sikray's satisfied expression always makes him feel relieved. Don't tell me you are inclined to mating with birds and animals? Asked Vritra, feeling a bit weirded out. He knew that the world was different, but he never thought that it would be this weird. What? Fuck no. What the hell do you even think I am? Asked Sek in an angry tone. Some guy who spouts delusional things. Not to mention not being able to get the girl's signal, said Vritra. Like hell I am delusional. And as for the second part, well, I am not used to it. I never had that kind of feelings for anyone. Not to mention, well, let's leave it at that, replied Sek. Okay, won't bring that up. Anyway, shall we discuss important topics now? Tell me all the ways you have used my sacred gear. I will think of new ways to benefit us based on those, said Vritra. All right, replied Sek as he started explaining how he fights using his sacred gear to the Dragon King residing in the sacred gear. Sikray, who was unaware of her partner's thought, just sat near his head and slept beside him. Sek sighed seeing the stubborn yet clingy and cute bird beside him and just let her sleep as he slowly drifted to sleep as well. Later in the evening, Sek woke up. He soon got refreshed and then went downstairs. Once in the common room, he noticed that the other members were doing some kind of eating competition. Leaving his squad mates aside, Sek turned his gaze toward Yami and walked toward him. Sup brat, want to join the competition? Asked Yami as he gestured towards the table. No thanks, anyway. Yami-san, I would like to apply for a leave, said Sek. This made all the people stop whatever they were doing and look toward Sek with surprised expressions on their faces. What? Already tired after just one battle against the Eye of Midnight bastards? Asked Yami. Nope, they were challenging, but not something that tires me out. I want to go and focus on my training. There are quite a few things that I have planned out and I would like to do is solely on those for a while, said Sek. The other looked at Sek and then turned toward Yami, curious about what their captain would say about it. Yami took a puff from his cigarette and said, You have got a week to do that. Give me a written application. I need to submit it to the HQ. Smiling and giving a nod to Yami, Sek went back to his room to pack his stuff and write the application. Well Vritra, let's get ready to grind. Yeah. Counting on you to do your best. Yeah, but first. Charmy-san, please make me a lot of food for the trip. Yelled Sek as he ran towards Charmy, who just gave him a thumbs up while gobbling up pies one after the other. Chapter 92, Training with Vritra. So this is where we are going to train, huh? Said Vritra as he looked at the scenery in front of him. Sek nodded with a smile on his face as Sikre, who was sitting on his shoulder, looked at her partner wondering if the guy was insane. Oh, he is an idiot, thought Sikre as she sighed and then looked back toward the huge landscape in front of her and once again thought, why is this idiot deciding to do his training in a strong magic region and that too at a desert? Do you want to die? Mentally scored Sikre as she smacked Sek's head with her wing. Oi! Don't hit me, said Sek as he got hit by Sikre. Well, anyway, ain't this an impressive sight? Not to mention the mana, said Sek. Yup, the mana in this desert is even more concentrated and violent than the normal high mana regions of this world, said Vritra as he felt the mana in his surroundings, and he had to say the energy concentration in the strong magic region was similar to some god's domain. This is a great place to train. I can experiment and try all kinds of strong and dangerous spells without worrying about destruction. Not to mention the strong magic region itself will make it harder for me to use mana, said Sek as he explained to Vritra and Sikre. Though Sikre still didn't agree with Sek about training at a dangerous location such as this. Not that she could do much about it, she just sighed and decided to follow her partner. She may not be of much help, but there was no way she was going to leave him all alone. He is a reckless idiot, who will jump into dangerous situations. It is up to me to stop him as much as possible. Sigh, what all I do about this idiot, and yet he goes after other girls. If only I had my real body, thought Sikre as she looked at Sek and just sighed. Not knowing about the thoughts of the bird on his shoulder, Sek took out X-Dace from his sheath as it got bigger and got covered in bronze. Jumping on top of the hovering sword, Sek and Sikre went deeper into the desert, and soon Sek could feel a lot of strong energy signatures from his ki. Mana sensing is quite difficult here, thought Sek as he looked towards Sikre. What about you, Sikre, able to feel all those things? My mana sensing is not that great, asked Sek, to which the bird closed her eyes and focused to feel her surroundings. Soon her eyes opened as she gave a nod, gesturing that she could use her mana sensing. Anti-birds really are something. Alright, counting on you to keep a check on the surroundings, Sikre. I can sense them with ki, but I might miss them if I focus on something else, said Sek as Sikre saluted and turned serious. Sek smiled seeing the bird and focused back on the path while making sure that he can still see the edge of the desert so that they can go back. Landing on the ground, Sek soon found himself near a huge rock that worked as a shade to keep Sikre and him a bit cooled. He then took out a small container, one of the size that could be tied around Secret's neck, and filled it with water for the bird to stay hydrated. I have enough water to last us a year, so don't hesitate to ask for more, is that clear? Asked Sek as he sternly told Secret, who just nodded her head. He nodded and then looked toward the huge rock in front of him. Making a sword from his magic, Sek fired the sword toward the rock as it got stuck in it. Go and sit there, make sure to be safe and avoid any enemies or my misfired magic. Nodding her head, Secret flew off his shoulder and landed on the sword that was stuck in the rock. Don't you care a lot about that bird? Asked Vritra. Secret is my partner. Of course, I will worry about her. She is my familiar and my first follower. Not to mention she cares a lot about me and takes care of me. It's only right that I respect and care for her, replied Sek. My god, if she was an actual girl she might have fallen for you. Not to mention you are a dragon now as well. What about it? Dragons are crazy strong creatures and attract a lot of attention from the opposite sex. Anyway, let's leave that aside, and focus on the training, said Vritra. Alright. So what's the thing that we are stating? Asked Sek. Why, of course my sacred gear, is what I would like to say, but before that, we need to work on a big flaw of yours. Hey, the Dark Lord does not have any flaws, complained Sek. You have many, but let's leave that aside and focus on the major one. You might or might not know about this, but you are a mana-sensitive being, meaning not only can you feel mana quite easily, but also have large reserves of it in your body. But from what I have noticed for quite a few days, your output when considering your huge mana pool is quite low, about 15 to 20%. We need to work on that. 15 to 20%, are you sure? I mean, I don't want to brag, but I am quite strong. You definitely are my other half, but that is considering the normal populace. They don't have reserves as high as yours, so your being on the same level as them only means that their output is higher than yours. You are strong because despite your low output your reserves are vast. What should I do? Asked Sek seriously. He was not going to argue with the dragon despite feeling pissed at his words. Good, you have that Midas touch spell, right? Use it, said Vritra, feeling happy that his host didn't argue much. He knew that he was prideful and strong as a dragon should be, but he also knew what is beneficial for him and was ready to improve himself without his pride interfering with it. Nodding his head, Sek's grimoire started flipping. Bronze transformation magic, Midas touch. Sek's hand got covered in blue mana as he asked Vritra about what to do next. Start turning sand to bronze, as fast as you can, of course, said Vritra. Sek nodded as he crouched down and started turning the sand to bronze. Sek looked towards the ground and noticed the mana spreading in the ground, turning the nearby sand to bronze as well. Faster! Yelled Vritra as Sek turned serious and pushed all the mana that he could into his hands. Faster than that! Are you even trying? Gritting his teeth, Sek tried to force more mana into his hand, making it a bit painful for him, but the speed of transformation increased noticeably. Just like that, the dragon continued to scold Sek to turn the ground into bronze, to which the blonde boy just heard him without any complaints. A few hours later, Sek was now at dangerously low levels of mana, to the point that Secret was worried about him and was pecking his head to make the guy stop. But Sek didn't even flinch. If he could feel pain, then he can continue. Stop! Yelled Vritra, making Sek stop. He took deep breaths to calm himself down, and even though he could not feel his hands as they were numb, he could sure as hell feel pain. He then looked around him and noticed that the whole desert as far as he could see from his spot was now turned into bronze. Aren't I impressive? Asked Sek with a small smirk, feeling proud of himself. Yeah, impressive for an average nobody, that is. Your current output is at 22%, get back to work. Yelled Vritra, making Sek groan in annoyance. I have no mana left. Then use my sacred gear and absorb. Stated Vritra, leaving no room for argument. Taking a deep breath, Sek stood up, much to Secret's relief, thinking that he was finally going to rest. But contrary to her thoughts, Sek summoned his sacred gear as various tentacles shot forward from his gauntlet and penetrated the ground, and started absorbing the mana from it. "What is the output limit that we are aiming for?" asked Sek. "Taking this world's average from what I saw during the fight in that cave, let's aim for 40%. Though I doubt you can achieve that in just a week," replied Vritra. And that was the moment Sek snapped. "Oi, you shitty lizard, you don't dare underestimate the Dark Lord. 40%, looks like I need to show you what the great Dark Lord is capable of. Be as much of an asshole as you can be and I will show that I can overcome all that and still surpass the standards that you have thought of me," said Sek, feeling a bit pissed from anger, heat, pain, and mana deficiency all combined. Unknown to Sek, Vritra smiled seeing Sek's reaction as he knew that the youth would respond like that. Looks like acting like a harsh trainer will do the trick. Though for some reason he is making the urge to train him like I used to train the dragons back then come up, thought Vritra as he saw his host drinking water from his storage waiting for his reserves to fill back. Chapter 93, Training with Vritra 2. The night soon came as the Dark Lord was still in the middle of his training. Sikre looked at her partner with worry evident in her eyes. She knew that Sek was an idiot and did all sorts of weird and dangerous stuff to get stronger, but the current Sek was scaring even her. Sek, who was done depleting his mana reserve for the 9th time in a day, fell on his knees and started panting heavily. After his breathing stabilized, he looked around him to take in the scenery that he created. "Is it just me or I covered more area this time?" "No, your reserves are increasing as well. Since the training started your reserves went up by 5 to 6%, which might not seem much, but considering your already huge mana pool, that's a considerable amount. By the way, your current output is at 27%, said Vritra. Sek sighed and then sat down on the ground and touched the hardened bronze ground below him. "I can't even feel my hands now. Why am I using this kind of spell when I can use better spells?" asked Sek. "This is the spell that gives the least output out of all your spells. So it's easier to map out the progress. Not to mention once the output of this spell reaches a higher value, the output of other spells will increase automatically," explained Vritra. Nodding, Sek looked at his own body only to find himself covered in blood, not his but of the monsters that came to attack him. Looking towards the side where a pile of monster bodies lays lifeless, Sek stood up and walked towards them. There are some good ones, I will give some of them to Charmy-san. The others can be sold, said Sek as he started absorbing mana using his sacred gear once again. Once he got back some sizable mana back, he opened his storage and tossed the monsters in a separate space and then closed it before opening another space that looked more like a room. He then looked towards Sikre and said, "Sikre, let's go." Seeing that Sek finally stopped, she sighed and then followed her partner and got inside the safe. Once both of them got inside, the safe's gate closed and the safe disappeared from the desert. Once he was inside, Sek took off his dirty and blood-covered clothes and tossed them to the side. Sikre, whom Sek most probably forgot was still there in the room, was looking at Sek's naked body without even blinking. "I am just checking if he has any injuries," thought Sikre as she tried to justify herself. Sek, on the other hand, looked at his hands, which were paler than the rest of his body as he couldn't feel his hands. "Don't worry, this world may be different, but mana concepts of this world are mostly similar to my own. Your hands will be back to normal after a while," said Vritra as if reassuring his host. Sek just nodded at the dragon's words as he picked up a pair of clean clothes and walked towards the bathroom, which was just another space that was connected to the space they were in. After he was done washing himself and his blood-covered clothes, Sek came out of the bathroom looking visibly refreshed. Sikre, who was resting, immediately flew and landed on his shoulders, making the blonde boy look at the anti-bird with a small smile on his face. Walking towards another wall, a transparent display appeared in front of Sek as he fiddled with it. Soon some food appeared out of nowhere and landed on a table made of bronze beside him. Looking at his hands once again, Sek noticed that some color came back, but still it looked pale. "Don't worry. It will get back to normal in due time," said Vritra. But Sek didn't reply to the dragon and just made a block to sit on as he and Sikre started eating. It replenished their energy. Once the two of them were done eating, Sek looked back at his hands and remained silent and motionless. He suddenly got so silent that even Sek looked at him with confusion, wondering what her partner was thinking. But out of nowhere his grimoire, which was lying somewhere else, came flying towards him and started flipping. Time debuff magic, fast forward. A bright light came out of Sek's hand, but nothing significant happened, which made Secret confused. 4x muttered Sek, and it was now that Secret and Sek noticed his hand color visibly change. Soon his hands were back to normal and Sek stopped using his spell. He moved his hands around and soon smiled. He could finally feel his hands and there was no pain left in them. Right, who was watching from inside him, was speechless. He never knew that his host had such a spell, and was about to ask him. But before he was able to, Sek's grimoire started flipping once again. Time debuff magic, fast forward 8x. And just like before, a glow enveloped his body as Sek's actions became visibly faster for those seeing him. Sek smiled and in an instant over to the bed and lay down. Debuff magic, sleep. In an instant, Sek fell asleep, leaving behind a speechless Secret and Vritra. This bastard! Were the thoughts that the dragon and the bird shared as they soon understood what the blonde boy was planning. And just like the two assumed, Sek woke up an hour later refreshed and full of energy, though his mana didn't recover as he was using magic all this time. Deactivating his magic, Sek stretched his body and got ready to grind. "You are a crazy man," commented Vritra. "Should have thought that before provoking the Dark Lord," replied Sek as he got ready to go out. Secret sighed, seeing her partner already going out to train, and flew towards him. Seeing the anti-bird coming towards him, Sek gave a wry smile as he realized the Secret hadn't rested enough. He patted the bird's head and asked her to wait here and rest, only for Secret to shake her head in denial. Sighing at her antics, Sek just gestured for her to sit in her pocket, to which the bird immediately agreed. "Just sleep for a while, all right," said Sek softly as he got back to the desert and started the grind once again. Chapter 94, Town Safe. A week has passed since Sek went on his training journey. During this time the Black Bulls were sent on a mission by the Wizard King to retrieve the magic stone present in the underwater temple, where they fought and defeated Veto, one of the third eyes from the Eye of the Midnight Sun. And currently, in the Magic Knight's HQ, Yami along with Asta and Charmy were giving their report and the acquired magic stone to Julius. After they were done with the job, the Wizard King was conversing with them when all of a sudden a projection appeared in the room. "I'm sorry to interrupt, Wizard King." "Mushroom Head?" asked Yami as he looked at the projection. "Who are you calling Mushroom Head?" "No, now's not the time for that," said Marx. "What's the matter, Marx?" asked Julius as he looked towards the projection as well. "The border town of Khitan, which has a history of skirmishes with the Diamond Kingdom, is under attack by a Diamond Kingdom squad," said Marx with a slightly panicked look on his face. "That's Sek's home," said Asta as he remembered about his blood squad mate whom he hasn't seen for a week. "They couldn't have chosen a worse time," said Julius with a grave look on his face. Marx then proceeds to show the live footage of the situation using his magic, which only made the others a bit more serious, since quite a few of the elites from the Diamond Kingdom were in the squad as well, with their numbers already being quite huge. Asta and Charmy got even more worried as Yami and Julius started explaining about the members of the Diamond Squad, but out of nowhere Asta noticed something in the footage and pointed at the projection. "Hey, isn't that town of Khitan, Sek's hometown? I come back to visit after such a long time and they chose to attack. Such unfortunate people," said Sek as he looked toward the incoming mages from the Diamond Kingdom. "Just hold back properly, you still haven't adjusted to your gains," advised Vritra as he just pitted the unfortunate idiots who were going to fight against his host. "Relax, it won't be that bad," said Sek, which immediately earned him a wing slap from Secret. "Tell that to the ecosystem you destroyed in the strong magic region," said Vritra sternly. He knew that his new host was a delusional idiot. But never in his wildest dreams, he thought that he was a downright crazy training maniac who just had to be talented enough to show off the gains that people take decades to reach. Last I checked his current output rate was 69%. If not for his stubbornness in having that noise number he would have progressed even further, thought Vritra as he still recalled the mocking smirk the idiot had on his face when he surpassed the 40% at the beginning of the third day. "Aren't you two the glass half-empty people?" said Sek with a pout, but soon a grin appeared on his face as he grabbed a broom from a nearby magic night post and went in front of the enemy. Seeing that someone was approaching them, the Diamond Kingdom army halted their advance as they waited for the person who just looked like a young man coming towards them. Looking at the army in front of him while standing on top of the broom, Sek stopped at a reasonable distance away from them and glanced through their ranks when suddenly his eyes fell on a man sitting on top of a car made out of black smoke. "Oh! Lotus-san! Long time no see!" greeted Sek with a cheerful voice. Hearing his greeting, both the Closer and Diamond Kingdom people got shocked and looked at Sek as if he grew a second head. "Oh! Dark Lord Kun, long time no see! How have you been?" greeted Lotus back in a casual tone. "I have been good. So you got back to your kingdom, hey? But why are you here again? Shouldn't you be spending time with your daughters?" asked Sek. "Ah, I wanted to, but my daughters just don't like to do that. Not to mention the orders from the kingdom are to be followed or they will cut my salary. I need to feed and provide for my daughters, you know," said Lotus. What the hell are these two doing in the middle of the battlefield, were the thought that all the mages from Clover and Diamond Kingdom had in their minds as they saw the two people conversing with each other. "Ah, yeah, I can understand. But you know, Lotus-san, this is my hometown and it would be for your good if you retreat right now. I would not like to, well, do things the hard way so that this town remains safe," asked Sek nicely. "Ah, Dark Lord Kun, that request is a bit difficult at the moment, you see. I just want to laze around in my home and spend time with my daughters, but these guys are just not willing for that," replied Lotus. "Well, can't be helped. Don't say that I didn't warn you guys," said Sek with a shrug as his grimoire started flipping. "What the hell, are you sporting, you bastard? We will crush you," said a guy with red hair riding on a red magic-made boar. "Just who is this unsightly person?" asked a blue-haired guy from Diamond Kingdom sitting on top of an eagle made out of electricity. "Kukuku, kids these days don't know their place, hey?" said an old man from Diamond Kingdom sitting on top of a cloud made of slime. "Well, not the first time someone does the mistake of underestimating the Dark Lord," said Sek. "Oi! Don't use that spell. They all will die," said Vritra as he noticed what spell his hostess going to use. "Okay, them being alive gives me more merit anyways," muttered Sek as his grimoire started flipping once again. Bronze creation magic, giant reverse magnum cannon ball. A huge amount of mana came out of Sek's body almost instantly as Sek looked at it with an excited smile on his face. The diamond mages who felt the amount of mana were shocked for a moment, which made them unable to react in time as all of them got engaged in a huge orb made out of bronze magic. "So that's your big plan? Trap all of us in a shell?" yelled the blue-haired diamond mage. But as if responding to his question, a lot of miniguns appeared all around the orb pointing toward the diamond army mages. "Nah. Just weeding out the weaklings first," said Sek with a shrug as he passed his mana into the orb. And almost instantly the minions started rotating and started firing at the Diamond Kingdom mages. "High output is great, you know," said Sek nonchalantly as he saw the diamond mages trying to dodge the bullets to the best of their ability. Though almost 1/4 of them were already down in the initial attack and more keep on falling as well. "Yeah, I know, that's why I told you to focus on that. But controlling it is as important as well." "Well, at least we have our next task planned," said Vritra. Sek nodded as he sat on top of the orb while he continued passing mana into it while ignoring the shrieks of panic from the diamond victims. They were so helpless that they were not even able to use any spells to counter the incoming attacks as the mana bullets were raining down on them without stopping. "Oh! Geld-san! Long time no see," said Sek with a happy tone as he saw a middle-aged man from Green Mantis on top of the wall. The man just sighed seeing Sek act so carefree while all the panic going on below him. He is even crazier than before, thought Geld as he looked at Sek. He knew Sek from the time he was a kid, as he was mostly stationed at this border town, and Sek was quite famous from quite a young age. Sek soon spotted the familiar faces from the town Magic Knight squad and greeted all of them. It had been a long time since he met them, and he was indeed happy to see that all of them were doing well. "Well, let's get this over with," said Sek as he looked down in the orb, only to notice that only the 3 squad leaders along with Lotus and a few of their men were left. Half releasing his magic, making the remaining people fly out in freedom, Sek lowered the rest of them to the ground. But because of the huge mana, Sek had to focus on them so that they didn't fall and die. And taking advantage of this, the 3 Diamond General rushed toward Sek while Lotus just watched from the side. Sek, who was done with placing the defeated Diamond Mages on the ground, sighed in relief. "I seriously need to make my control better. But before that..." Sek took out X-Dace from its sheath and held it in his hands. X-Dace, extended key blade. Immediately the sword glowed and its blade extended. But instead of going straight, it moved around Sek like a snake and cut off all the spells that were aimed at him before rushing towards the 3 Diamond Generals and stabbing their things like a sewing needle. Sek looked at the 3 of them with a smirk, and not even giving the 3 of them time to speak, Sek's other grimoire flipped as he pointed his finger towards them like a gun. Debuff magic, sleep. Firing mana bullets covered in debuff magic, Sek saw as the 3 generals fell unconscious and started falling, only for the Clover Magic Knights who were already there to assist Sek in catching them. Sek smiled at his work before turning towards Lotus, who was already far away from the town, retreating shamelessly without even looking back. "Well, the town's safe," muttered Sek before he flew back. Meanwhile, back at the Magic Knight HQ. "Marks. Let me go. I want to see his magic in person," said Julius as he protested. "You have more important work to do, you idiot of a wizard king," said Marks, who was already back in the HQ to stop Julius from rushing to Khitan, knowing full well that the man would try to do so after seeing the battle. Chapter 95, Back Home. Walking through the streets of Khitan with a nostalgic look on his face, Sek smiled a bit. The people who recognized him were happy to see him back in town. Many were thanking him for saving the town just now, but most were just happy to see the blonde boy back in town. Sek greeted the people as well, who were asking about how his life was after joining the Magic Knight squad. They didn't even bother to ask about him joining Black Bulls, as according to them, if Sek joined the supposedly worst squad of the kingdom, then it must have been for a reason, though many of them thought that it was only a matter of time before Sek changes the squad's reputation. Soon reaching in front of his house, Sek knocked on the door. "Aren't you quite the popular man?" said Vritra. "Well, unlike you, they know the Dark Lord's majesty and charm," replied Sek as he waited for the door to be opened. Soon the door opened and Sek smiled widely, seeing the blonde-haired woman who was in front of him. But soon his smile started to fade as his mouth started opening, and soon it was wide open. "Se-chan!" cheered Sek's mother Elaine as she saw her son in front of him. She ignored his shocked face and just went in for the hug, which seemingly snapped him out of the trance as Sek hugged her back and said, "I am back, Mom." Feeling her emotions raise, a few tears came out as she kissed Sek's cheek after Sek bent down to her level. Sek smiled and then the two broke the hug. Not waiting for a moment later, Sek said what was bothering him for a while and asked, "Tell me that I am wrong, but you are not just gaining belly fat, right?" "Hey! Is that the way to talk to your mom after coming back after so long? And no, I am not getting fat. Se-chan is going to become a big brother soon," said Elaine as she smacked Sek's back before gesturing for him to come inside the house. Entering the house, Sek looked around and noticed that his house was mostly the same. "What happened to the old sofa?" asked Sek. It got old, so we decided to change it," said Elaine, but Sek could see her blush and fidgety body with a knowing smile on her face. "Ew, they fucked there and broke it," thought Sek as both he and Secret cringed. Secret, who was now out of his pocket, flew towards Elaine, who was happy seeing the anti-bird. Secret landed on her shoulder as Elaine petted the bird with a soft smile. Sek looked at his mother and his familiar and soon said his thoughts. Yup, can't handle it. Mom, rest up. I will do the chores, said Sek as he walked towards Elaine and moved her to sit down as he started doing the cleaning when he noticed that his mom was in the middle of it. Elaine immediately started protesting, saying that it was her job and that Sek should rest since he came back after such a long time. But Sek didn't relent this time, as there was no way he was going to let his pregnant mother do chores. She might be fine and young to do so, but he just didn't want her to strain her body. We'll have to get a helper to do the chores, thought Sek as he made a mental note in his mind. He earned enough and he still had all the loot from the dungeon. What was he even going to do with all that saved up money anyway? He would mostly be out of town on his job. If his parents lived well, then it will just give him peace of mind. Done with the cleaning, what's next? Asked Sek. Elaine looked around the house, which was just looking very sparkly, and pouted. She was happy that Sek cleaned the house, but seeing him do it better than she made her pride hurt a bit. Just rest. Or better tell me how about your days at the Magic Knight Squad, said Elaine as she wanted the seat beside her. Sek smiled as he took a seat beside her and told her about all the things that he did, though he still kept a few things secret from her. Elaine was just happy listening to Sek's story, but soon she noticed something and asked, "Se-chan, do you have a girlfriend or some girl that you are interested in?" Yes, she didn't hear him talking about any girl. The only thing that Sek focused on was a promotion, work, training, getting stronger, and the Dark Lord this and that. Getting caught off guard, Sek just closed his mouth and turned silent. Sikray and Elaine looked at Sek, who just turned silent, and wondered what was he thinking. Soon Sek shook his head and said, "No, there isn't anyone like that, at least not yet." "Oh, I sense foreshadowing," said Elaine as she turned curious. "Who knows?" said Sek with a shrug, which made the lady pout at her son's response. She wanted to hear about any potential daughter-in-law. And this son of hers was keeping the information away from her. She immediately looked at Sikray and asked, "Sikray-chan, is there any potential daughter-in-law in Sek's life right now?" Sikray looked at the woman who asked her the question and simply pointed at herself. Both Sek and Elaine blinked in surprise as they looked at the bird. But Sikray didn't fall under their gazes and stood proudly as she continued pointing at herself. Chapter 96, Back Home 2. The mother and son continued talking for a while, with Elaine using all the tactics she had to ask Sek about his love life. But Sek, being the great Dark Lord, already knew of all those tactics, as he had seen his mother use those tactics to get information out of their neighbors. Seeing that it was already quite late, Elaine was about to cook dinner for him, but Sek tried to stop her and said that he will get something from the town, but was immediately refused as she wanted to cook for him since he came after such a long time. Failing to stop her from cooking, Sek just went to take a bath and got refreshed. "It's nice coming here after a long time," said Sek as he looked around his old room. He then started looking around, and once he was sure that Sikray was not there, he immediately went to his desk. Mana then gathered around his hand as the tabletop shimmered a bit and soon opened up, revealing quite a bit of research books. Smiling at the books that helped him for such a long time, Sek looked at all of them. "All right, let's add the new ones to my collection." His grimoire started flipping as Mana gathered in his hand. Bronze creation magic, safe of eternity. But instead of the huge safe, just the transparent screen appeared on his arm. He fiddled with it for a while, and then a few books landed in his hands. Placing those books in the hidden compartment as well, Sek sealed the compartment with his magic and then went down. Seeing that his mom was still busy cooking while humming, Sek decided to go out and sort out his business of getting a helper for the time being while his mom was pregnant, and if she wants to, then for much longer. "Mom, Sikray, I am going out for a while." Okay, but come back for dinner. And don't you dare eat out," said Elaine as she warned her son. She was preparing a feast for his welcome, and she didn't want him to not eat properly just because he doesn't have any appetite. "All right. Sikray, stay here and look after Mom." Sikray gave a nod as she heard Sek's request and just watched Elaine cook. She was making sure to learn how Elaine cooks so that once she gets back her body she can cook those for him. She was collecting magic stones for the same but was not very successful, and now even the Clover Kingdom and the elves were after the magic stones. She just needed some magic stones, maybe 3 or 4, but the job was getting difficult for her. So far I have 2. One with me and one with Sek. I might be able to turn back after just 1 more stone, thought Secret. Walking around the town, Sek was once again swarmed by the people who were happy to see him back in town. After making some small talk with them, Sek walked around for a bit but soon reached his destination. Is that you, Sek-kun? Asked an old man. Yup, good to see you, Father Ralph. Greeting the old man who was cleaning the entrance, Sek smiled as he entered the orphanage. The old man smiled as he saw Sek enter. Good to see you as well. How's Magic Night Jib going? Asked the old man. He was very fond of Sek. Since the Dark Lord was a kid, he regularly came to the orphanage and offered meat of the animal that he hunted so that the kids there could eat well. Not to mention he also helped them financially. So what is it? A new job? Asked the man. Sek helped the orphanage financially by asking around the town for any odd jobs that the older children who got their grimoires or were about to get their grimoires could do. Well, there is one. Is there any girl who could help around the house with chores and stuff? Asked Sek. An odd request? Who is asking? Asked the man. Me. Mom's pregnant and I was thinking of getting someone to help her around the house, said Sek. Nodding, the old man gestured for Sek to follow him. The two of them entered the orphanage and immediately Sek noticed quite a few of the familiar faces. The children and the sisters looked towards the two who just entered and immediately quite a few of them get excited to see him. Sek and I-chan! Yelled the kids as they ran towards him. Not even a moment later, Sek was surrounded by the kids who started asking him a lot of questions. Sighing at his popularity, Sek just let the kids have their fun as he answered their questions. Well, he had lots of great stories about himself and he was not shy to spread his awesomeness around. If people liked him, then he would make them admire and like him even more through his sheer awesomeness and charisma. Alright kids, you can play with him later. We are busy right now, said the father as he clapped his hands to get the attention of the kids. The kids groaned as they looked at father and then towards Sek with pleading looks on their faces. Well, sorry, but he is right, said Sek. He was not for long in the town, so he needed to deal with the job. The kids, although saddened, still followed Sek's request and left him alone. The older kids were then called and were explained the job, and soon a girl who still didn't gotten her grimoire was selected. She was good at chores and, as Sek remembered, had a good nature as well. After discussing the pay with her, Sek played around with the kids for a while and soon left, though he gave them some mana beast meat, making the kids dance around in joy. Aren't you too famous in this town? Asked Vritra. The Dragon King was shocked to see his host's popularity in the town. Young, old, kids, toddlers, everyone he met simply adored the boy. Well, what can I say? I am simply amazing, that's all. Plus, I have been in this town for as long as I can remember and helped around too. Most people know me. And this being a border town made people close to each other, as the only way to live happily in a town susceptible to attacks is by sticking together, said Sek as he looked around the town with a happy smile on his face. Sure, his family was not the most wealthy and they had quite a few ups and downs because of many attacks on the town, but this town was a very important place for Sek. The people cared for him and he cared for the town. So you are normal in some aspects, hey? Good, said Vritra as the two talked for a while. Oi! Sek! Suddenly hearing the loud voice that Sek recognized very well. Asta! Called Sek as he noticed the familiar grey-haired shorty. Charmy and Finral too. And what the hell happened to your arms? Asked Sek. The trio then told him about their adventure in the underwater temple. I missed such a fun opportunity, thought Sek as he felt a bit saddened by that, but soon sighed. He gained quite a lot from his training, so it wasn't like he was at a loss. So what are you guys doing in Kaidan? asked Sek as he and the others walked around the town. We were at the Magic Knights HQ reporting about our mission to Wizard King. But then the mushroom head gave the news about the attack here. We saw how you defeated all of them and we were sent by the Wizard King to deal with the aftermath. Though the Golden Dawn is here as well and is doing just that," said Asta. Well anyway. Since you all are here, come to my home. Mom will be happy to see you all," said Sek as he greeted another lady who was running a stall. The trio just nodded as they saw Sek greeting almost everyone in the town. Soon the Black Bulls reached Sek's home and Elaine was pleasantly surprised to see Sek coming back with others. But she was happy to know that they were Sek's friends and she was excited since it was the first time that Sek brought friends home. Needless to say, the food prepared by Elaine alone was not enough to feed the gluttons like Asta and Charmy, who was more than happy to cook and share recipes with Elaine. "Ba-ha? What's with all this ruckus?" asked Zook, who entered the house and saw quite a bit of people in the house. "Yo! Dad, long time no see. You good?" asked Sek as he carried dishes and placed them on the table that he created, as the food that Elaine and Charmy prepared was simply too much. "Ba-ha! Sek!" exclaimed Zook as he rushed towards his son. The father and son shared a bear hug as the two grinned, seeing each other. Later that night the Bronzeza family and the Black Bulls partied, which was a welcome change for the Black Bulls as they were busy with their missions or training. Where the hell are those dumbasses? I need to take a dump, asked Yami, who was left all alone after he went to talk with William. Chapter 97, Permanent Effect. After the party was over, Sek's friends returned to the Black Bulls HQ, leaving the Bronzeza family behind. Sek then started to clean up after the party as Zook was pretty much wasted from drinking and there was no way he was gonna let Elaine work after that. He also told her about the girl who would come from now on to help her around the house. And even though she was surprised by the news and was happy that her son was thinking this much about her, she openly tried to reject his offer. Money, while not huge, was always an issue for their family and she didn't want Sek to spend money on such a trivial thing. Though Sek argued about that and told her not to worry. He also played some emotional cards about her not trusting his capabilities, and all of which in the end made Elaine stop her small argument with Sek. She was a mother, a loving mother. And mothers can't not believe in their children's capabilities. She was the one who brought up the kid and knew full well how he was. When Sek was young, others used to say that Sek was arrogant and that it was not good for someone from the common realm to aim that high. She and Zook always believed in Sek. The boy had always claimed to be the one who will stand at the top and showed great determination and hard work for that goal. She knew how hard Sek trained and how some of the things that he went through when he was a kid were quite dangerous for someone his age to experience. But seeing him return with a bright smile after his progress made her not stop her son. She warned him from time to time to not do anything reckless and also ground him whenever he got injured a bit seriously. She never doubted Sek even once. She just looked at her son's back and teared up a bit. Her son grew up kind and strong, and even though she knew he was a bit arrogant, she was proud that her son. "Now you just need to bring me a lot of grandbabies." Turning to look at his mother, who said that out of nowhere, Sek just looked at her weirdly and got back to cleaning. "I will try, though I can't promise anything soon. I am quite busy making the world realize how great the Dark Lord is. Not to mention soon I will be busy with the little one who is going to have the privilege of calling me Big Brother. He will get the finest upbringing from the Dark Lord." Saying that, Sek envisioned his brother or sister playing with him and later fighting a mighty battle alongside him. The image of him training his sibling in the same way he did, which might or might not involve being turned into mana beast bait, dungeon exploring before even getting their grimoire, and lots of exciting adventures to learn and grow from. Yet, you should hold back on that plan. Your sibling will surely die if they are at least half as talented as you, said Vritra. Vritra, sure, talent may help in the long run, but in the initial stages, it's the hard work that matter. I can't decide whether my sibling will be talented or not. But I can make sure that they ain't a slacker who just gives up, replied Sek. The dragon and its host talked for a bit longer after Sek was able to make Elaine go to her room and rest. He just covered the already passed out Zook with a sheet and got back to cleaning. So where were we, Vritra? This world's magic. Yeah, so as I was saying, even though this world's mages have their affinities fixed since their birth, the magic of this world is kind of permanent. Permanent as in? You see, in my world we have many different kinds of being who uses different kinds of energies, but there is one thing that is common in all of them: a higher level being can usually just break out of the effect of a spell. Like, most strong dragons and phoenixes are not burned in ordinary fire, or how weaker people who have time-stopping powers cannot stop or restrain stronger beings. But that is not the case in this world. The rules of magic here are absolute. No matter how strong you are, if the spell has an effect on it, that is going to work. Your flame debuff magic, Blaze Touch, is going to burn dragons and phoenixes alike if they don't have fire immunity. Resistances are nothing for your debuff spell. Restraining magic is going to restrain beings like gods and all if they don't have a counter against it. Explained Vritra. That's interesting. It is. Your debuff magic is kind of a game changer for most of the strong beings in my world. You can just poison them or turn them to sleep. No matter the gods, dragons, devils, or angels. Not sure about Great Red or Off-Eyes though. They can't be placed in your usual power scale. People in this world might not be strong, but they are dangerous, said Vritra. That's an interesting fact, muttered Sek as he took out the red grimoire from his holster and smiled. It was something he felt happy about, since that was meant to be his original grimoire. Sure, both the grimoires belonged to him, but the bronze magic grimoire belonged to the canon Sek. The other grimoire though, he didn't have any knowledge about that and believed it belonged to him. Soon he kept it back in the holster and went to sleep. He had to wake up early as he had to go back tomorrow. The next day, in front of the house, Sek was saying goodbye to his parents, who were sad that he was leaving so soon but still tried to hold back their emotions. After he was done, he looked towards Finral, who came to pick him up, and went back to the Black Bulls HQ. Later that day, Yami returned with a bag filled with meat for a barbecue to reward his team. The Black Bulls got excited because of that, since it was Yami treating them, and Yami never does that. Leaving that aside, while everyone was laughing and singing, Sek, who was standing beside Noelle, was crying. My little girl finally learned how to use attack magic. I am so proud. Stop that. You are not even my father, yelled Noelle as she blushed in embarrassment. But I taught you to magic how I teach little kids. It's very emotional for me, said Sek as he wiped his tears. Ugh. Noelle groaned hearing Sek's words. She then felt a hand on her shoulder and saw Sek looking at her with a proud smile. Good job, Noelle. You outdid yourself. I am proud of you. Thank you, not that I want to be praised by you or anything, said Noelle with a blush while I'm her head. A chibi Noelle was jumping around with joy on being praised. Leaving the royal alone to get over her embarrassment, Sek walked towards Asta, who was strangely less energetic. You okay, buddy? Asked Sek. Oh, Sek. Check this out, I can eat with my legs, said Asta as he showed Sek how he could hold the skewers with his toes. Stop that. That's not hygienic. Here. Snatching the skews from him, Sek held it in front of Asta, who just are from it, thanking Sek with his mouth full. So, what did the doctor say about your arms? Seeing that they are not healed means there's some issue, right? Hearing that question, Asta turned silent as he chewed on the food that was in his mouth. After he was done eating, he retired Sek to come with him. The two of them excused themselves and walked into the forest. Soon they found a clearing and the two of them sat down on the ground. That doctor where Captain Yami took me today told me that an ancient curse is used on my arms. They can't be healed. I won't be able to use my hands from now on, said Asta. Sek's eyes widened a bit. He forgot about this event, but he soon remembered about the witch's forest and all. The memory is not that accurate anymore, only important bits are left behind. I don't even know the whole thing since I only read till the introduction of the Black Triad or something, thought Sek. Looking at Asta's hands which were inside the bandages. Show me your hands. I got a cure spell recently, maybe that will help. Sek just told Asta. He got the cure from light magic. Sure, he might fuck the cannon. But when was he ever afraid of that? Asta's body immediately jumped up at Sek's words. He had lost all hope of ever using his hands, but the words his friend just told him made him regain that hope. Unknown to them though, the other Black Bulls were already discussing what Finral secretly heard at the doctor's place and were feeling sad for Asta. Opening his bandages, Sek made a table from his magic and let Asta rest his broken hands on it. Damn, they are broken badly. What the hell did you even do? Asked Sek. He had his fair share of broken hands and all, but the condition of Asta's hands was something he never saw. What type of curse is it anyway? Asked Sek. Don't know, replied Asta. Let me examine it, said Vritra as Sek gave a nod. If there was someone knowledgeable about curses, then they would be the dragon who raised to the position of Dragon King through his might and mastery of curses. Sek's sacred gear appeared as a small thread-like tentacle that came out of the gauntlet and wrapped around Asta's hand. A simple yet effective curse. It's been centuries since I saw this type of curse being used. That guy must be desperate to stop this kid to become a threat in the future. What is it? It's a curse where the user uses half of its life force to not allow external spells to be used on the area where it is used. The body's natural healing is also stopped by this curse. Most people only use this spell when they are about to die. It is kind of a sacrificial curse, said Vritra as the thread unwrapped from Asta's hand. Well, unlucky for them, there is someone who deals with effect magic, said Vritra, as he told him earlier that permanent effect magic users are a pain to deal with. Sek smirked as his grimoire started flipping. Light magic, cure. A faint glow came out of Sek's hand as he channeled his mana towards Asta's arms. The two boys looked at Asta's hands for a while, but there was no change. But soon the curse marks started to fade a bit, making the two of them smile. Seeing the curse being lifted, Asta got excited, but soon Sek stopped using his magic, making the mainless kid look at Sek with a questioning look. No use curing it right now, we can't heal you. I will do it in front of the doctor tomorrow. Not to mention the curse fights back. Sek pointed at Asta's hands as the two saw curse marks appear once again. It either means the only way to make it go away is to cure the whole curse, or your hands will be cursed forever and can't be immediately healed. You will need someone to lift that curse while you are being healed, said Sek as he stood up. But that's still better, right? Asked Sek. Yeah, exclaimed Asta as he jumped up on his feet as well. Sek just laughed as he bandaged Asta's arms once again as the two of them walked back to the HQ, unknown to the reason the other squad members made. Chapter 98, You Really Are an Unpredictable Evil Man. The next morning, after the two rookies of the Black Bulls had a chat, Sek woke up a bit late as he was telling Yami about the strong magic region where he trained and asked Charmy to help him sort out the edible mana beasts from the pile that he defeated in the strong magic region. Done with his morning routine, Sek came down only to find Yami reading a newspaper while the rest of the HQ was eerily quiet. How the hell is this place so quiet? Am I dreaming? Asked Sek. The others went out to do something. They were talking about finding a way to fix that brat's hands and went out, said Yami as he turned the page. What? Didn't Asta tell you guys? Asked Sek with a confused look on his face. Hey! Replied Yami, which gave Sek the answer. Sek then heard a creaking sound and looked to his side only to find the familiar skeleton looking at him. To be honest, I forgot that he was here as well. He mostly just stays in his room, thought Sek. Long time no see. Long time no see as well, Sek. Sek, who heard a voice, was shocked as he never expected that the skeleton in front of him could speak. But as if understanding his confusion, shook his head as Sek heard a flapping noise and looked up only to see a parrot flying towards them and landing on In's shoulder. Your familiar gave me an idea to interact with others, said Ins as he gestured at Sek and Secret. Sek nodded, feeling a bit impressed by Ins's idea. Any idea where Asta and the others might be? Finral and Noel came by with Zell and company, kidnapped Asta, and flew away, said Ins. Sek sighed at the information. He could guess where his friends were and were at a loss. He didn't know where the Forest of Witches might be and was worried a bit. The best case scenario would be everything going canonically and everyone returned back without any injuries. And the worst case was that he fucked up the plot and they die. Yeah, I am not taking chances, thought Sek as his grimoire flipped and a translucent screen appeared on his arm. He checked his storage and soon found the thing that he was searching for. Taking out a device that had a gem placed on top of a handle, Sek passed Mana through it. It was a transmission device given to him by Finral, which he used to ask him to get him to and from missions. Finral, where are you guys? Asked Sek. Sek-kun. Come here soon. We need help. We are in the Forest of the Witches. Hearing that his guess was correct, Sek gave a nod, not noticing the sudden flinch in In's body. Open a portal in the common room, said Sek as Finral nodded. A moment later a portal appeared in front of Sek, who jumped in followed by Ins. Sek, whose surroundings changed all of a sudden, saw some witch bitch pushing her heel against Vanessa's cheek, Asta, who was fallen on the ground, and panicked looks on others' faces. Sup, exhibitionist? Greeted Sek as he looked at the red-haired dude who taught Asta how to wield a sword without any clothes on his upper body. And you, witch bitch? Get the hell away from Vanessa-san right now, said Sek in a threatening tone. Another imperfection, much less a man, said the witch bitch as she looked at Sek. Her mana reserves are something else. It's even greater than yours. Well, nothing less to be expected from a human who can surpass a century without any signs of visible aging, said Vritra. You can tell her age? Asked Sek. I am a sacred gear. My hosts have mated with all sorts of women. You get experience soon, replied Vritra. Sek just mentally nodded and made sure to find a way to block Vritra when he decides to have sex. Seeing that the witch had no intention of letting go of Vanessa, Sek decided to start acting. Mana gathered around him as Sek's grimoire started flipping. I am still not that good at controlling my new powers, so keep that in mind, warned Sek as the witch continued to look at him impressively. Bronze creation magic, Giant's Fist. The giant fist appeared above Sek and immediately rushed toward the witch, who just jumped up to avoid the attack. Not that Sek was aiming for that, as the giant fist simply grabbed Vanessa and brought it back to him. So with that done? You all came here to heal Asta's arms, right? Asked Sek as a bronze sword appeared in his hand and he cut through the birds that came attacking him. Yes. The Witch Queen has a lot of ancient spells and we think that she might have a way to heal Asta as well. Vanessa-san was here even before us and the Witch Queen told us that she bargained for her freedom for healing Asta's hands, said Noel. Sek nodded as he cut through the last bird and looked at the witch bitch. Can you actually heal him or you are just a sham? Asked Sek. I don't think that I am obligated to answer an imperfect being, but yes, I can heal him. Not that I will, said the Witch Queen. Bitch, there isn't a person more perfect than me. And Asta, come here, said Sek as he gestured Asta to come near him. Ins, give us a cover, said Sek, to which the skeleton, who was ignored till now, gave a nod. Sek opened the bandages wrapped around Asta's hands, revealing the curse-ridden broken arms. Light magic, cure. A bright flow appeared around Sek's hands, one far brighter than what he had shown yesterday. Asta closed his eyes because of the bright light but was confused as to what was Sek doing. They didn't have a healer right now, so what was the point of curing the curse? It took a whole minute for Sek to get rid of the curse around his hands as a malicious smirk appeared on his face. He looked towards the witch bitch, who just stood silently at what the imperfect beings in front of her were doing. You said you can heal this, right? Asked Sek as his grimoire started flipping once again. Body debuff magic, damage transfer. A green light enveloped Asta while a red one enveloped the witch bitch. And not even a second later Asta's broken hands were healed. screamed the witch bitch as she felt immeasurable pain in her arms which were now completely broken. There you go, heal yourself when you are done screaming. Oh, better heal Vanessa-san as well, said Sek as he used the same spell on Vanessa. Her injuries disappeared as well and the same injuries appeared on the witch bitch. Nodding at his work, Sek looked back at others who were looking back at him with their eyes wide open in shock. You really are an unpredictable evil man, my other half, said Vritra. He never thought his host would do something like that. All right, Asta is healed now, let's go home, said Sek, but none responded as they were still processing what the hell just happened. The witch bitch was rolling on the floor, not able to bear the pain at all. Well, it was a case of broken bones even Sek hadn't seen, it sure was painful. Asta on the other hand was flexing his muscles and was happy to be able to work out once again and immediately started doing push-ups. Sek just looked at the chaos around him and shook his head. Well, he can't expect everyone to keep up with his great mind. Sikray just looked at the scene for a while and simply ignored it as her gaze fell on the magic stone that was used as an earring by the witch bitch. Chapter 99, Let's go save the forest. Sek waited for the others to come back to reality as he was sitting on Asta's back while he did push-ups. Stop. Take a break before the next set. Asta stopped as Sek got off his back. Asta then wiped the sweat on his forehead and said, arms really are great. He then proceeded to kiss his arms as Asta looked at the witch bitch who was still not done with her screams. He so wanted to tell her that rolling on the ground with broken arms was not the way to go, but he found her suffering funny and just remained quiet. Ugh, what happened? Asked Vanessa as she groaned. She seemed to have got conscious once again. Sek, who was beside her, crouched down and said, you were being an idiot, and I came to fix your mistakes. Vanessa sat up and looked around to see some of her squad mates around her. Sek-kun? What are you all doing here? They came to fix Asta's arms. I came to save them. Hey, that's right. Asta, wait for a bit, I will just ask the witch queen to heal you. What the hell are you doing? Vanessa immediately tried to talk to Asta as she realized what she was doing there, only to find the said monoless shorty doing one-hand push-ups. She then looked towards the witch queen and found her rolling around in pain. Surprised by the scene, she looked at her friends for answers only to see all of them pointing fingers at Sek. Sek, who saw the others pointing at him, nodded and said, yes, I am the awesome one. You can thank me now. What the hell happened here? Asked Vanessa. She was being a bitch, so I just dealt with her accordingly. I used my spell to transfer all the damage you and Asta sustained to her. About that, you two will feel the recoil. Said Sek as immediately both Asta's and Vanessa's eyes widened in shock and both screamed in pain. Right about now. Great, now 3 of them are screaming, said Sek, but soon Asta and Vanessa calmed down. Asta, like Sek, was physically well trained and could bear quite a lot of pain. On the other hand, Vanessa's injuries were not that severe, so even if the pain increased by 10-fold, it wasn't much that she couldn't deal with. Now, this only left the witch bitch, who was looking at her broken hands with agony. Sek could only imagine how a non-physically trained person was dealing with severely broken arms. So shall we get going now? Or are there any more things that you all need to do? Asked Sek. The people who were gathered in the room just looked at Sek and thought about how easily the man dealt with all their problems. But before they could even reply, Sek, Sikray, and Ans felt a large amount of mana approaching them. Yet, like hell could a day pass without trouble? Said Sek as the others just looked at him with confusion. What happened, Sek? Asked Asta. Remember the pink hatred chick with fire spirit salamander? She and her army are coming towards us for that witch bitch's magic stone, I guess, said Sek as he looked at the said witch. Witch bitch! Exclaimed Vanessa. She could not believe that someone would call a fearful person like the witch queen like that. The witch queen, who felt the severity of the situation, calmed herself down and healed her arms. She proceeded to glare at Sek, who just snorted at her. I would have killed you this instant, if not for the imminent danger in the forest. said the Witch Queen as a sphere appeared in front of her and showed Fana riding on a salamander along with other members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. It then showed the mages of the Diamond Kingdom that were coming from the opposite end. Just then an explosion followed by a loud noise occurred, making Sek and the other people who were present in the room look in the direction of the explosion. "Damn, that's some damage. Spirits are just made for doing AoE damage," commented Sek. "Well, seeing that you are under attack, we will just leave you to deal with this shit and not distract you, or you can buy our services to help you save the forest in exchange for that magic stone," said Sek as he looked at the witch bitch. The witch bitch glared at Sek without even saying something. Sek didn't relent to the pressure and just looked at her. "Well, looks like you don't want to make a deal, let's get going all right. I will give you the magic stone in exchange for saving the forest and the witches." "All right," exclaimed Asta, as he hyped himself to fight only for Sek to give a karate chop on his head. "Not yet, Asta. Hey, which bitch is that how you ask someone for help? Where the hell are your manners?" said Sek with his arms folded. Mana surged in the room as the crows made out of the witch's magic got loud and violent. "Don't test your luck, you imperfect brat," said the witch bitch in a cold tone. The others except for Sek, Sekre, Asta, and Ans got tense because of the mana radiated by the Witch Queen. Sek looked back at the witch without any change in his expression and sighed, and in the next instant, mana radiated out of his body as he glared back at her. "Test my luck, bitch, it is you who are still lucky after hurting Vanessa-san like that. The only reason I left you alive is that you are her mother and she doesn't want you dead. So be within your limits, otherwise it won't even take me a minute to show you hell," replied Sek in a cold tone with killing intent aimed at her. The two glared at each other as their mana clashed, causing sparks around them. Strong gusts of wind were coming out because of their clash, but none of them were backing or had the intention to stop. Suddenly another explosion was heard. The two looked at the explosion from the corner of their eyes before looking back at each other. "I don't have time to deal with this childish argument," said the witch as she took her mana back. "Then what is your answer?" asked Sek as he took his mana back as well. "Sai, please save the forest and the witches." Sek stared at her for a while before he gave a nod and looked back at Asta. "Now. Okay. Let's go save the forest," declared Asta as he raised both of his anti-magic swords. Chapter 100, You touch us, we touch you back. Once the deal was accepted, it didn't take long for Sek to get into action as he asked the witch bitch to show the projections once again. All right, me, Ans, and Noel will deal with the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Asta and Fanzil deal with the Diamond Kingdom. Finral, Vanessa-san, Mariella, and Domina-san rescue the witches. They will be hesitant to get help from men, so it is up to you guys to do that. Vanessa-san and Domina-san know the place, so try to locate as many as you can. Once done, join Asta and the others. Any questions? Asked Sek as he explained the roles to his friends. Wait? Me? Said Noelle as she pointed at herself. Yeah. Are you sure about taking me to the fight? Won't Asta be the better choice? Noelle, you said it yourself that you learned super powerful attack magic. Gotta show me whether all the time that I spent training you is worth it or not. But I don't think. Seeing that the royal was still hesitant, Sek looked at her and clapped his hands directly in front of her, making her snap out of her thoughts. Who the hell do you think I am, Noelle? Who the hell is telling you to think or believe in yourself? Just believe in me. Hearing his words, Noelle and the others looked at him with a surprised look on their faces. Seeing that now they were not thinking anything else, a small smirk appeared on Sek's face as he gave a pat on Noelle's shoulder and said, "Just believe in me who believes in you." He then looked at every one of them and said, "All of you need to know two things. Firstly, return alive. If even one of you dies, I will find a way to bring you back to life and then kill you back. Secondly, show them hell." The other Black Bulls just gave a nod as a smirk appeared on their faces. Sek nodded back as he stood closer to the hole and said, "All right, Black Bulls, and friends from the Diamond Kingdom. Beat the shit out of the enemies. I am counting on you guys all right. Saying so, Sek jumped out of the hole as a giant fist made of bronze appeared below him and he landed on it. Ins and Noel followed him as they came on top of a flying broom and the trio rushed towards the place where the Eye of the Midnight Sun was attacking. Ins, Noel, save the ones that come in your path, I will be rushing ahead. The two gave Sek a nod as Sek rushed towards the battle. While saving the witches who were being captured by the members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Though as soon as Sek saved them they coursed at him saying, why the hell do they have to be saved by a man? I would like to see how happy their lives will be after getting caught as a slave, thought Sek as he kicked another one of the white-robed mages from the E.O.M.S, Eye of the Midnight Sun. Can't blame them, they have lived their whole life fearing men. And these humans trying to capture them as slaves don't help improve the image in their heads, said Vritra. He looked at the mages who were falling one after another. These people were way too weak for being a challenge to his host. He then looked toward the source of mana that was giving a draconic presence. I will kill you, said Fana as the salamander's mouth opened. Spirit magic, salamander's breath. Sek looked at the incoming giant fireball without a change in his expression. Ins. On it, replied the parrot on In's shoulder. Poses Zion magic, mana poses Zion. The giant fireball stopped in its tracks as Ins looked at the salamander. He then opened his hands as the fireball split into multiple fireballs and surrounded the salamander. Noel! Yelled Sek as Noel, who was directly above Fana, gave a nod. A large amount of mana gathered around her, seeing which Sek's eyes widened. She really came a long way, thought Sek as a dong smile appeared on his lips. Water creation magic, sea dragon's roar. A large body of water shaped in the form of an eastern dragon with a strong vortex for its body came out of her wand and rushed towards the salamander. Mana possession, flame dragon's roar. Similarly, the smaller fireballs controlled by Ins gathered together in the form of an eastern dragon similar to that of Noel and rushed toward the salamander as well. Why should I stay behind? Commented Sek as his grimoire started flipping as well. Bronze creation magic, bronze dragon's roar. A new eastern dragon made out of bronze appeared as well and roared toward the salamander. The three dragons rushed toward the fire spirit, making Fana look at the three dragons rushing towards her. In the end, not being able to decide what to do with the situation, the three dragons slammed against the salamander, causing an explosion that engulfed the salamander and Fana within it. Cough cough asterisk, why do you keep hurting us? Asked an enlarged Fana as she looked quite bruised up from the previous attack. Well, fighting is a two-way relationship, you try to touch us. We sure as hell will touch you back, said Sek, who rushed towards the distracted and injured Fana. Spirit magic, salamander's claw. The salamander charged mana around its arm as it glared at Sek. Seeing that, Sek smirked as he untreated Ecstase. Cutter of creation Ecstase, magic cutter. The fire spirit swung its claws as giant slashing attacks made of flame mana came toward Sek. Sek swung his sword as well as a flying slash, fired out of Ecstase. The slash easily cut through the magic slash coming toward him while destroying the spell as well. Seeing Fana's senses alerted her as she moved salamander out of the path of the attack, narrowly dodging it. Though that was all the time Sek needed as he landed on the fire spirit's back as well. Fana looked at him with her usual expressionless face as Sek rushed towards her and kicked her gut, sending her flying off the salamander's back, which immediately tried to rush toward its master. As for you, big guy, uttered Sek as he raised his hand, and mana started gathering in his palm. Ice debuff mana bullet, massive chilling raise nan. A giant violent spiraling mana bullet appears in Sek's hand as he looked towards the salamander that looked back at him with horror. Slamming the huge orb of chilling mana on the spirit's back, Sek smirked as the spirit roared in pain and started falling. No salamander! Screamed Fana, who was falling as well. She then looked at Sek, who was still on the salamander's back, with hatred as her mana started fluctuating. I will kill you! I will kill you! I will kill you! Yelled Fana as a series of flashbacks occurred in her head. Her grimoire started flipping as the salamander dematerialized under Sek and then appeared below Fana, who was engulfed in violent Ormgish mana. Flame recovery magic, Phoenix robe. A robe made of flames appeared around her body with 2 wings made of fire behind her. Crystal structures started appearing around her as she glared at Sek. Sek, who landed on the ground, looked back at her and then looked at his 2 teammates. "You two ready for round 2? Asked Sek with a smile. "I don't think that it was a wise decision to take on a sport with just the 3 of us," said the parrot on An's shoulder. "That's right. What will you do if we die?" She has revealed her third eye now. "That Veto guy that we fought in the underwater temple did the same, and he got way more powerful after that," complained Noelle. Now, where is the fun in beating a weak opponent?" said Sek as he immediately received 2 slaps from Secret and Noelle. "Why the hell do I have to die for your fun? You idiot! Hey, that wasn't necessary. All right, you two stand back. I will deal with her on my own," declared Sek, surprising Noelle and Ans while Secret just face-palmed. She had a feeling that her partner was about to do something stupid. He then stepped forward and gestured Fana to come at him, making the pink-haired girl, who usually had an expressionless face, look at Sek with anger.
Thanks for listening.